The Almighty.
Don't have your mind open to the point where you start becoming jaded to certain things. The most well-known case was of a Kansas boy who, at age 13, impregnated his 17-year-old babysitter. Under Kansas law, a child under the age of 15 is legally unable to consent to sex. The Supreme Court 1993 ruled that he was liable for child support. Yeah, you know that it's bro. The stuff like that stuff is crazy. Like you see, like you sit there, you get taken advantage of, and then in those cases, right, legal rape, illegal rape, excuse me, and you gonna be paying child support, right? Don't mind that you was 13 years old, right, and you was clearly taken advantage of. Whew, 13.
Said the exact same thing, that he had basically full editorial
Didn't Tucker
privilege.
get fired for having an opinion that went outside of
And then the lies that they said they do, like, because when he sat there, and I remember hearing that too, when he sat there and he said that didn't Tucker get fired for having an opinion? No, that's not at all what happened. Tucker got fired because of what he because of what he had in the text messages that just contradict what Fox News was sitting there and parroting with the fake with the fake oh God, what is it? The votes, the voter machine shit, where he didn't even believe it, but he was sitting there still talking. He's still sitting there, and that's why I don't even like Tucker Carlson either, right? And that actually, bro, I don't understand like why people still sit there and they listen to them, while they listen to Alex Jones. Like these people, like if you could be a fly on the wall, you would realize that these people actually really know what they're saying is an outright lie. For why they sit there and they spread these lies, I don't know, right? Tucker Carlson did not believe the Kraken lady. He didn't believe all that ish with the fake the fake voter machine thing, right? And then like what happened, right? The lawsuit, the discovery, all that came out and came to light. And guess what? And Fox News especially didn't like it because at that point they had to settle, right? You don't settle in court unless you know unless you either don't want to deal with the publicity or you are for sure know you're going to lose, right? And Fox News knew they were going to lose. They knew they were going to lose because what they were saying, what they've been spreading for however long they've been spreading, was just absolute lies. Period. This is the Hunter Biden laptop story. That it contained information directly to Joe Biden. That is false. That still is false. The laptop exists. They're sitting there trying to argue about about people saying that the laptop was fake. No, okay, sure, the laptop was real, but the story you were saying about its relevance is fake. That's ha ha ha. Okay, let's try that again, right? This was a struggle. My goodness, was this a struggle? Am I tripping? Oh, you know something? See, it's been so long. I gotta move. I gotta move myself back over here now. Come here. Let me see what is wrong with my vertical. Why is my vertical that horribly off-centered like that? That cannot be right. Hold on. Hold on. My vertical is like off. Can I move you? Oh wait, why is it that? Why in the world is it that big? Hold on. What the heck happened? Yeah, I'm gonna have to, I gotta, okay. Go like this. And, bro, this is, I can't get a break. I cannot get a break. Yeah, because I can't be like that far out, but, all right. Okay. Oh, this has been the struggle. The struggle has been crazy. The struggle has been crazy. Guys, listen, it's been such a challenging couple of like weeks trying to get this stuff working. And every time I get it to where it's like, okay, yeah, it's working, right? And then when I get ready to go use it, it just breaks. It's like some stuff just like falls apart. Even now, I have no idea why the encoders are tripping out on just doing what they were doing perfectly fine with a month ago. And it's because of this stupid plugin I installed that changed it did something. It edited something regarding a different plugin that's made by the same company that now I can't get that other plugin to work without this BS plugin. And with this BS plugin, so much other stuff breaks, right? So what I managed to do is I managed to replicate my stuff back on my laptop, because all my other streams were on my laptop. I moved on my desktop to get more stable, and ironically enough, now it's the most unstable thing I have at the moment. But I was able to copy stuff back over to my laptop and make sure not to use that particular plugin, right? Use an alternative plugin that I was originally using, and so now here we are. You know, it's been one just terrible challenge after another. But you know, we're finally, like, we're more or less, we're finally back. Excuse me. So now, hopefully the rest of this stream goes without issue. The encoder, for whatever reason, is calming down. I don't know how that works. I don't know how the video encoding part of a graphics card just decides to be chill all of a sudden, but it so far is looking like it's chilling. We are going to go ahead and try to, yeah, see, my other stuff just triggered the excellent now. This is so crazy. I don't even, all right. Anyway, let's let's go ahead now and switch on over to our setup here and get started with Religion Day, right? So look, I found a book. I found the book, an online book that I'm going to listen to, that's going to read the Dead Sea Scrolls, because Dead Sea Scrolls is the last thing I wanted to, like, go through before we started going through the Quran, and, you know, for the Islam side of things. So we read the Bible, we read cover to cover minus the genealogy stuff. And so now all that's left is the Dead Sea Scrolls, and then we can do the Quran. So that's what I'll be particularly looking forward to, sort of, right? Because that one I'm almost for sure probably gonna have to read that, and I'm already getting tired just thinking about it, because reading the Bible was definitely a little tough. Trying to get through like significant amount of pages per reading, because I was only reading it twice a week. And I was doing 25 pages of reading. And I was just like, oh, man. Stuff sucks. But it's important to read this stuff. Anyway, now let's go ahead and let's move on to our section here. So, okay. And, all right. So, bug number 1. Oh, no, this one's... We're used to seeing this. Wait, is my thing freezing up? Okay, I thought it was freezing up on me for a second. I was like, why is that? But, you know, bug number 1, but this is something we've always dealt with in our past. So we just need to just disable, re-enable, bam. Okay. All good, all good. See that? All good. Oh, God, excuse me. Okay. So, man, that is just terrible. Let me get a quick sound test for the laptop. Right fast. Yes. See, it's coming out of that. I needed to come out of this. See, this is why these kind of things are important. Okay. Let me kind of gotta max that out. All right. I can close this because I don't need it no more. And we are now going to turn off the speakers. Jesus Christ, that's loud. All right. Yes, I do need the headphones because I just turned the speakers off. So let me get this. Okay. We are going to be reading our Dead Sea Scrolls here. Why does this look quite like this? I'm thinking. No, I don't think I can. Bro, why am I so tired? I don't know if I can actually change the thing here, but Oh, I see. No, I see what happened. So my vertical, okay, so my vertical actually gets about this much real estate, and then I can get this up to here, and this looks better, but then my horizontal looks like garbage. So I need to now edit my horizontal real quick, and we'll be good. All right, so hold on. I need to bring you down. Okay, you're gonna need. This is gonna be problematic. I'm gonna have to figure something out. What am I going to figure out? Hmm. Just bear with me. Bear with me. I want to like right here, right? Yeah, I want to like right here. And then I should be able to just, no, do that. Okay, gotta bring it down some more. And it's telling me this is as good as I'm gonna be able to get it. Well, I guess technically the URL, I guess technically the URL bar does not need it. All right, we're about to start in like literally a few minutes. I just need to, yeah, I guess technically. This is relentless. This is so relentless for me. I'm sorry. Okay. I guess everything got messed up. Well, let's listen to this while we're trying to fix it.
Contents: Jonah 443, Micah 447, Nahum 455, Habakkuk 459, Zephaniah 463, Haggai 467, Zechariah 470, Malachi 476, 1 Enoch 480, Daniel.
I hear nothing. I really do hear nothing. Hold on. I need to set it to this thing here. Nope. Oh, here it is. Bam. Okay. Let's test that out. Okay. Now let's turn it again. Hopefully OBS doesn't trip out.
482 other books, 503 Psalms, 505 Job, 590 Proverbs, 594 Ben Sirach, 597 Ruth, 607 The Song of Songs, Canticles, 611 Kohelet, Ecclesiastes, 619 Lamentations, 622 The Epistle of Jeremiah, 628 Esther, 630 Chronicles, 632 Ezra, Nehemiah, 634 Tobit, 636 Bibliography, 647. At the time of Jesus and Rabbi Hillel, the origins of Christianity and Rabbinic Judaism, there was, and there was not, a Bible. This critical period, and the nature of the Bible in that period, have been freshly illuminated by the biblical Dead Sea Scrolls. There was a Bible in the sense that there were certain sacred books widely recognized by Jews as foundational to their religion and supremely authoritative for religious practice. There was not, however, a Bible in the sense that the leaders of the general Jewish community had specifically considered, debated, and definitively decided the full range of which books were supremely and permanently authoritative and which ones, no matter how sublime, useful, or beloved, were not. The collection or collections of the scriptures varied from group to group and from time to time. All Jews would have recognized the law, the Torah, and most would have recognized the prophets as belonging to that collection. Such a recognition is attested by references in the New Testament to the Law and the Prophets, Matt 7:12, Luke 16:16, and Rom 3:21. But the exact contents of the prophets may not have been the same for all, and the status of other books beyond the Law and the Prophets was neither clear nor widely accepted. The notion of a wider collection of scriptures that extended beyond the Law and Prophets is suggested by an intriguing passage in Luke 24, which says that everything written about me, i.e., Jesus, in the Law of Moses, in the Prophets, and in the Psalms must be fulfilled, vs. 44. The Dead Sea Scrolls help us see the state of affairs more clearly from an on-the-spot perspective. The Bible, or more accurately then, the Scriptures, would have been a collection of numerous separate scrolls, each containing usually only one or two books. There is indeed persuasive evidence that certain books were considered scripture. But there is little evidence that people were seriously asking the question yet about the extent or the limits of the collection, the crucial question for a Bible or canon: which books are in and which books are outside this most sacred collection. Thus, the Dead Sea Scrolls Scriptures may be a more historically accurate title for this volume. At any rate, it presents the remains of the books for which there is good evidence that Jews at that time viewed them as sacred scripture. The Bibles used today. The word Bible has different meanings for different people and groups. The most obvious difference in content is between the Bible of Judaism, i.e., the Hebrew Bible or Old Testament, and that of Christianity, which contains both the Old and New Testaments. The Dead Sea Scrolls Bible does not include any New Testament books for one simple reason: by the time the vast majority of the scrolls had been copied, in 68 CE, the New Testament was only beginning to be written. Not surprisingly, then, there are no copies of New Testament books among the scrolls. The list of books included in a Bible is termed a canon. There are three main canons in the different Bibles used today, see Figure 1:1. The Jewish Bible, or Tanakh, contains 24 books in three sections: the Torah, the Prophets, and the Writings. 2. The Protestant Old Testament contains the same books as the Tanakh, but in 4 sections and in a different order: the Pentateuch, the historical books, the poetical books, and the prophets. In addition, the Protestant canon contains 39 books, not 24, because it counts separately several books that comprise single books in the Jewish Bible. 4. Example: the one book of the 12 minor prophets in the Jewish canon becomes the 12 books of the minor prophets in the Protestant Bible. 3. The Roman Catholic Old Testament contains exactly the same 4 divisions and 39 books as the Protestant Bible, but also includes further writings. 7 of these are entire books: Tobit, Judith, 1 and 2. Maccabees, Wisdom of Solomon, Ecclesiasticus, and Baruch, which includes the letter of Jeremiah. The others are sections added to Esther, the additions to Esther, and to Daniel, the prayer of Azariah, Song of the Three Young Men, Susanna, and Bel and the Dragon. For Catholics, these additional writings are part of the Bible and are thus known as the deuterocanonical books, that is, a second group of canonical books. However, Jews and most Protestants do not view these writings as scripture, labeling them the Apocrypha, plural of apocryphon, which means hidden books. Some scholars believe that these books are not in the Jewish and Protestant canons because they are later than most other biblical books, Daniel being an exception, while others point to their supposed secular or unorthodox content as the reason for exclusion. The real explanation, however, is more complicated and goes back to 2 ancient Bibles. Early Christians accepted the Greek Septuagint, which contains these additional books, as their Old Testament, while early rabbis finalized the list of books for the Hebrew Bible in the 2nd century CE. It is Figure I. Jewish, Protestant, and Roman Catholic canons of the Old Testament: Jewish Tashiach, 24, Protestant OT, 39, Roman Catholic OT, 46, Torah, 5, Pentateuch, 5, Pentateuch, 5, Genesis, 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 Exodus, 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 Leviticus, 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 Numbers, 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 Deuteronomy, 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 Prophets. 8.
Oh my gosh.
Historical books.
Okay.
12. Historical books.
That was interesting
16.
so far.
Joshua, 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 Judges, 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 Samuel, Ruth, Ruth, Obadiah, Proverbs, Lament, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi. These two early collections, the shorter Hebrew one and the longer Greek one, that determine which books are included in the Bibles used by modern Jews, Protestants, and Catholics. Jews, followed by Protestants, regard the shorter collection as scripture, whereas Catholics accept a larger canon that includes apocryphal/deuterocanonical writings found in the Septuagint. 3 Old Bibles, 11 modern Bibles are translations of older texts. The scriptures used by most XA. Readers of this book, whether Jewish, Protestant, or Roman Catholic, are based on much older manuscripts that have been translated into English. The 3 most important of these older Bibles are known as the Masoretic text. MT, the Septuagint, LXX, and the Samaritan Pentateuch, SP. Scholars believe that the books in these 3 texts are from pre-Christian times, but unfortunately no really early manuscripts were available before the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls. Translations were made from the oldest available manuscripts, most of them medieval, in the belief that these late documents were accurate copies of far more ancient texts. The Masoretic text. Almost all modern English translations of the Old Testament are based on a single manuscript, the Leningrad Codex, which was copied in 1008 CE and is our earliest complete copy of the Masoretic, or rabbinic, text of the Hebrew Bible. The Leningrad Codex is used by most biblical scholars in its published edition, Biblia Hebraica Stuttgartensia, or the earlier Biblia Hebraica. Another important manuscript is the Aleppo Codex, which forms the basis of a new edition of the Hebrew Bible currently being produced at the Hebrew University in Jerusalem. This manuscript was copied in about 925 CE and is thus earlier than the Leningrad Codex. However, a substantial part has been lost. Which means that for some books the Hebrew University project must rely on the Leningrad Codex and other Hebrew manuscripts. Both the Leningrad Codex and the Aleppo Codex are part of what is known as the Masoretic text. This term is quite complicated, since it covers many manuscripts rather than a single one, Masoretic group or Masoretic family. Would thus be a more accurate name. Masoretic manuscripts including the Leningrad Codex and the Aleppo Codex contain the books of the Hebrew Bible in the threefold arrangement that was developed by the rabbis and is found in modern Jewish Bibles, the Torah, the Prophets, and the Writings, though the specific order of books sometimes varies between manuscripts. This form of the Old Testament text now found in the Masoretic text grew and was finalized in 3 periods, or stages. The first stage originated among Babylonian Jews, the Pharisees, or temple circles, and ended with the destruction of the temple in 70 CE, or perhaps with the end of the Second Jewish Revolt in 135 CE. The second stage extended from the destruction of the temple until the 8th century CE and was characterized by more and more textual consistency as rabbinic scholars sought to standardize the text of the Hebrew Bible. The third stage extended from the 8th century until the end of the Middle Ages and was characterized by almost complete textual uniformity during this period. A group of Jewish scholars known as the Masoretes set out to produce a standard text of the Hebrew Bible, one that in their eyes would be true to the scriptures revealed by God in ancient times. Since the ancient text consisted only of Hebrew consonants without any vowels, see Figure 2, many readings were open to diverse meanings, compare DG in English, which could be dig, dog, or dug, depending on which vowel is used. The Masoretes solution was to add vowels, accents, and Masoretic notes, see Figure 3, which required fixed meanings for groups of consonants, for example, only dig, not dog, or dug. As a result, the Masoretic text became almost completely standardized during this time. It is this standardized form of the Hebrew Bible that is found in the Leningrad Codex and the Aleppo Codex, and upon which the Old Testaments of most English Bibles are based. Because the Masoretic text has become the Bible of Judaism and is the main text of the Old.
Did I hear that right? Oh, it cut off English. I thought it said lynch. I thought it said lynch Bibles are based. I was like, huh? Wait, what? Did I hear that right? What do we got here? Is this where we get to the the passages that they used to use in the old times to promote slavery? Like what? Lynch Bibles. They're based now.
Testament used by scholars and Bible translators, its relationship to the biblical Dead Sea Scrolls is an important issue. In the translation presented in this book, all readings from the scrolls have therefore been carefully compared with the Masoretic text, with any differences, or variants, signaled by the use of italics. The Septuagint is the ancient Greek version of the Hebrew Scriptures or Old Testament, translated by a number of different Jewish scholars over the course of the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st centuries BCE. The oldest manuscripts of the Septuagint, which are very fragmentary, include John Ryland's Papyrus 458, 2nd century BCE, and Papyrus Fuad 266, about 100 BCE. Complete, or almost complete, manuscripts exist as well: Codex Sinaiticus, 4th century, Codex Vaticanus, 4th century, and Codex Alexandrinus, 5th century. D*NNCJRCNRMNI asterisk, NVBRDN to note NCVB cart Noyamini, CPN, $MB, but why was a Greek translation of the Hebrew Scriptures necessary? Following the conquests of Alexander the Great in the late 4th century BCE, Greek was increasingly used in the ancient Near East, including Palestine, and numerous Jews and other peoples emigrated to lands such as Egypt. Eventually, more and more Jews adopted Greek as their first language and became less fluent in Hebrew. For such Hellenized Jews to maintain and understand their religion, a translation of the Hebrew Scriptures into Greek became increasingly necessary. The translation was begun in the 3rd century BCE in Alexandria, Egypt, one of the centers of Hellenistic Judaism. According to a delightful legend in the letter of Aristes, 72 scholars, 6 from each of the 12 Israelite tribes, were brought from Jerusalem to translate the Pentateuch into Greek during the reign of Ptolemy Philadelphus, 285–247 BCE. The precise number of scholars was rounded off to 70, from which comes the term Septuagint, meaning 70 in Latin. Eventually, the Septuagint grew to embrace Greek translations of all the books of the Hebrew Bible, translations of some books excluded from the Hebrew Bible, and even a few sacred Jewish books originally composed in Greek. The Septuagint is important for several reasons. First, almost all the books it contains were translated from an earlier Hebrew or Aramaic form, though a few books, such as 2 Maccabees, were originally composed in Greek. This means that the Septuagint gives readers a window on an ancient Hebrew form of the Old Testament that is earlier than the time of Jesus. Second, the Septuagint sometimes offers striking evidence of different ancient forms of biblical books. For example, Jeremiah is about 13% shorter in the Greek than in the Masoretic text, as well as different ancient readings in specific passages. Third, because the Septuagint was the Bible of Hellenistic Judaism, it offers important insights into how Greek-speaking Jews used and understood Scripture. Fourth, since the Septuagint is quoted in the New Testament and was used by early Christian authors, it constitutes the Bible of the early Church and helps to explain early Christian exegesis of Scripture. Finally, the Septuagint contains the books of the Old Testament in the fourfold arrangement that is found in modern Christian Bibles: Pentateuch, historical books, poetical books, and prophets, though the specific order of books sometimes varies between Septuagint manuscripts. It is from the Septuagint that most modern Bibles have adopted this grouping and that Catholic Bibles have included the deuterocanonical books, or Apocrypha. Because of the Septuagint's importance as an ancient translation, the list of variant readings in the footnotes of this book will often indicate whether or not the Septuagint agrees with readings found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, in the Masoretic text, and in the Samaritan Pentateuch. The Samaritan Pentateuch, the third ancient Bible, is known as the Samaritan Pentateuch. As its name implies, it contains only the 5 books of Moses. The Samaritan Pentateuch was finalized as a collection before the Christian era and has been used by the Samaritans, a small branch of Judaism, ever since. A small but active Samaritan community still exists, using this Bible and practicing its own customs and ceremonies. The discovery, contents, and origin of the Dead Sea Scrolls. This book provides only a brief overview of the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls and their contents, since detailed information is readily available elsewhere. The term Dead Sea Scrolls refers to ancient manuscripts discovered at sites in the Judean desert in the vicinity of the Dead Sea. The most important and famous of these sites is Qumran, but scrolls were found at several other sites as well. Discovery of the scrolls between 1947 and 1956, 11 caves were discovered in the region of Khirbet Qumran, about a mile inland from the western shore of the Dead Sea and approximately 14 miles east of Jerusalem. The 11 caves yielded various artifacts, especially pottery, and manuscripts written in Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek, the three languages of the Bible. The Hebrew Bible is written in Hebrew and Aramaic, the Septuagint and New Testament in Greek. In addition to the finds at Khirbet Qumran, several manuscripts were discovered at other locations in the vicinity of the Dead Sea, especially Wadi Murabayat, 1951-52, Nahal Hever, 1951-52 and 1960-61, and Masada.
You know what I found like really interesting about like the Dead Sea Scrolls was just like how they were found. You know, I believe the story was that like some kid threw a rock in a cave, and he heard a really strange noise, like I guess like a vase breaking or something like that. And so either he reported it or he got somebody to go down into the cave to look and see. I think he went down there himself to look and see what was in there, which is stupid, right? That's exactly how people get taken off the senses. But I believe he went into the cave, and then that's how he found the scrolls, like because they were in vases or in jars or something like that. And yeah, and that's how they found. And then like all these caves all around in the area, like Middle East area, wherever exactly that is, like over there by Israel, Egypt, right, had a bunch of these scrolls. And not everything was like perfectly preserved as far as like the condition of the scrolls, but just think like just how amazing it is that these scrolls, like their existence, and the ability to date them. I think they did do carbon dating, if I'm not mistaken, right? And it sets them all the way back then to Jesus's time and before then. And to me, that's a marvelous kind of discovery, you know? Like just think, like you actually have writings of people that were like there when my man Jesus was doing what he was doing, which is crazy, you know what I'm saying? Because like it's one thing to argue that like some of this stuff is like fake and you know, like like how do we know like such a person existed, right? But like to have like at least like some kind of like documentation to kind of reinforce that the stories and stuff about like Jesus is true, I think is like really cool. But that could be just me, you know. But let's continue. Let me just get this last. Come on. I need you to. And of course, there we go. All right, let's get back. Okay. What's wrong? Come here. Why is this so? Am I tripping? Okay. I was like, why is this so difficult to move? Okay. So surely, right? I mean, it can't be that pausing it and resuming it just breaks it. Oh God. Okay. What page am I on? I'm pretty sure I was over here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Excuse me. I'm pretty sure I was over here. So
Discovery, Greek, the three languages, 1960, fragmentary. The other side, purposes of organization and editing. But until, some 215 manuscripts from Qumran. This introduction, see section headed The Biblical Scrolls. A few brief comments on the non-biblical scrolls will be helpful at this point. There are approximately 670 of these scrolls, which can be divided into 5 groups. 1. Rules and regulations, for example, the community rule. 2. Poetic and wisdom texts, for example, the Hodayot, or Thanksgiving Psalms. 3. Reworked or rewritten scripture, for example,
I think
the
everything's
Genesis
good on this map.
Apocryphon. 4. Commentaries or Pesharim, for example, the Pesher on Habakkuk, and 5. Miscellaneous writings, for example, the Copper Scroll. The non-biblical scrolls can be very helpful for understanding scripture at Qumran, since they often quote from or refer to biblical books and passages. These manuscripts also offer valuable insights into how scripture was used and interpreted by the Essenes and other Jewish groups in the last few centuries BCE and up to the destruction of the Qumran community in 68 CE. Many of these documents are also of direct relevance to early Judaism and emerging Christianity, since they anticipate or confirm numerous ideas and teachings found in the New Testament and in later rabbinic writings, the Mishnah and Talmud. Origin of the scrolls. Most scholars agree that the group who lived at the Qumran site from about 150 BCE to 68 CE was a strict branch of the Essenes. Together with the Pharisees and Sadducees, the Essenes formed the three main divisions, or denominations, of Judaism at the time of Jesus. They were previously known to us in works of the Hellenistic Jewish writers Josephus and Philo, and of Latin authors such as Pliny the Elder. It is also generally agreed that these Essenes deposited many scrolls in most of the Qumran caves. However, a smaller number of scholars disagree with these points. It has been suggested, for instance, that the members of the Qumran community were not Essenes at all but Sadducees, or that the site was in fact a military fortress or a winter resort. These issues are of great importance for understanding the non-biblical scrolls, since scholars distinguish between those manuscripts that were composed at Qumran and those that came to the Qumran library from elsewhere. Many scholars refer to the writings composed at Qumran as the sectarian scrolls, which is helpful for purposes of identification but is also confusing. In modern Judaism and Christianity, a sect is usually an offshoot of a larger religion and is frequently viewed as eccentric or deviant with respect to beliefs. But both scholars and lay people would do well to remember that during the entire Qumran period, the Pharisees and Sadducees were as much sects as the Essenes were. It was only from the 2nd century CE onward that one type of Judaism, that of the Pharisees and their descendants, the rabbis, became standard for the Jewish people as a whole. These issues are of less importance with respect to the biblical scrolls. For one thing, all scholars agree that none of the biblical texts, such as Genesis or Isaiah, was actually composed at Qumran. On the contrary, they all originated before the Qumran period. It is also widely held that many or most of these manuscripts were brought to Qumran from outside and were thus copied elsewhere. This means that the value of most biblical scrolls lies not in establishing precisely where they were written or copied, but rather in studying the textual forms they contain. Several distinctive biblical scrolls, however, were copied at Qumran, which raises some interesting issues. For example, it is likely that 4Q Sam modified the text they were copying in order to produce distinctive Qumranic readings of the biblical text. The evidence to date suggests that such alteration did not take place. The biblical scrolls 1IL-EADC scrolls include more than 225 biblical manuscripts, about L215 of which were found at Qumran. Unfortunately, with a few exceptions, such as LQESA 1*3 and LLQPSA, almost all these manuscripts are in fragmentary form. Parts of every book of the Jewish and Protestant Old Testament are in Clud, with the exception of Esther and Nehemiah. In addition, some other books now included in Roman Catholic Bibles were found at Qumran, Tobit Ben Sira, also known as Sirach or Ecclesiasticus, and the letter of Jeremiah, also known as Baruch 6. In terms of the Catholic canon, then, the total of biblical scrolls would be somewhat higher, at about 235, about 222 from Qumran. It is also most likely that the Qumran community viewed the books of 1 Enoch and Jubilees as scripture. What was the shape of the Bible at Qumran? In other words, in what order did the books viewed as scripture at Qumran most likely occur? While most modern Bibles follow the order of the Christian Old Testament canon in 4 divisions, Pentateuch, historical books, poetry, and prophets, the ancient evidence from the scrolls suggests the following order: the books of Moses, the prophets, and the Psalms. A key passage that suggests this order can be found in the Halakhic letter from Qumran, 4QMMT, and we have also written to you so that you may have discernment in the book of Moses and in the books of the prophets and in Dav ID. It is interesting to note that Jesus uses almost the same terminology in Luke 24:44. That everything written about me in the law of Moses, in the prophets, and in the Psalms must be fulfilled. Which of these many biblical books are represented most among the Qumran scrolls? In other words, which writings were most popular for the Qumran community? The following list emerges: 1. The Psalms, with a total of 37 manuscripts, 2. Deuteronomy, with 30 manuscripts, and 3. Isaiah, with 21 manuscripts. Although many scrolls have been lost, these statistics serve to indicate which books were most frequently used among the Qumran community. If we count the number of times an Old Testament passage is quoted or referred to in the New Testament, the same three books turn up most: the Psalms, cited about 68 times, Isaiah, 63 times, and Deuteronomy, 39 times. How this book was compiled: this book, containing the first translation of the biblical scrolls into any language, was compiled according to 7 principles. 1. Maintaining the historical order of books. The order of books in the Dead Sea Scrolls Bible corresponds to the ancient evidence as far as can be determined: the books of Moses, including Jubilees, the prophets, including 1 Enoch and Daniel, and the Psalms and remaining books, including Ben-Sira, the Epistle of Jeremiah, and Tobit. 2. Including introductory material. The translation of each book is preceded by an introduction that includes a brief description of the relevant scrolls, the dates of at least some of these manuscripts, and the textual form or forms of the book in the scrolls. 3. Depending on large manuscripts. Among all the biblical scrolls, very large manuscripts are preserved for only 2 books, Isaiah and Psalms. Since a scroll of the entire book of Isaiah was found in a sealed jar in Cave 1 virtually intact, the translation of Isaiah presented here is of this complete manuscript, LQ Isa 3. Similarly, another large, continuous scroll of the Psalms, LLQPSA, was found in Cave 11. The translation of Psalms 101 to 151, in a different order than that found in traditional Bibles, is mostly from this manuscript. 4. Integrating material from several manuscripts. Unfortunately, for all the other biblical books, only fragments survive, some quite substantial, but most of them small. Thus for these books the translation is necessarily a patchwork of the remaining pieces from different scrolls. Since the text is constantly interrupted by the breaking off of the fragments, intervening text is inserted to provide context. This material is taken from our traditional Bible, based on the Masoretic text. The preserved text is presented in regular type, with non-extant text supplied in square brackets. If only part of a verse or word is preserved in one scroll and another part can be found in a different scroll, the editors have combined the fragments to supply as much of the surviving text as possible. For example, in one scroll, 4Q we have only the following words preserved for Genesis 1:1, "In the beginning Go made." If this were our only manuscript containing this verse, the Dead Sea Scrolls Bible would read, "In the beginning God made the heavens and the earth," with the supplied text in square brackets. Fortunately, however, another scroll, 4Q also contains part of this verse, "In the beginning God the heavens and the earth," a fragment that includes material missing from 4Q. So when the preserved letters from the 2 scrolls are combined, the translation is as follows: "In the beginning God made the heavens and the earth." 5. Signaling variant readings. When the translation of a passage in the scrolls differs from the traditional biblical text, the Masoretic text, or from any other Dead Sea Scroll, it is printed in italics to alert the reader. In order to emphasize the distinctive readings found in some scrolls, the editors have presented these variant readings in the MAM translation as far as possible, except for Isaiah and Psalms 101 to 151, where the translation is from a single large scroll, as explained above. Any alternative readings that are found in the scrolls, the Masoretic text, MT, the Septuagint, LXX, or the Samaritan Pentateuch, SP, are listed in the footnotes. Thus the reader is able to compare all the different readings for a given word or passage on the same page. For example, near the end of Daniel 7:1 the traditional text says of King Belshazzar, "Then he wrote down the dream, he related the sum of the words," which is awkward. The only scroll that preserves this verse is 4Q, which simply reads, "Then he wrote down the dream." Accordingly, the Dead Sea Scrolls Bible translation reads, "Then he wrote down the dream." 3. The corresponding footnote, which is indicated by the superscripted 3, reads, 4Q and probably LXX. The dream, he related the sum of the words MTLXXMSS. This shows that the translation is found in 4Q and most likely the original Septuagint, while the longer reading is found in the Masoretic text and some Septuagint manuscripts. 6. Highlighting interesting or important readings. The Dead Sea Scrolls Bible includes apocryphal books, new psalms, previously unknown passages, and hundreds of individual readings that are significant or interesting for our understanding of Scripture. The translators highlight some of this new or interesting material with the use of italicized comments. One example is found before Isaiah 29:5. Several possibilities exist for the multitude referred to in Isaiah 29:5. Is the best reading your strangers, mentioned in the Masoretic text, the ungodly, referred to in the Septuagint, or your enemies, as found in LQISAT? A solution is offered by the parallel phrase later in the verse and the multitude of the ruthless ones, which suggests that the reading in LQISA is the preferred one. Your enemies, or your foes, is found in several modern translations, including the Revised Standard Version, the New Revised Standard Version, and the New International Version. Although there are scores of such interesting readings, in order to produce the Dead Sea Scrolls Bible in one volume we were limited to highlighting only a selection of key readings in this way. But for the reader who seeks further examples, this book presents the rich variety of readings found in all the biblical scrolls in a complete fashion, whether in italicized form in the main text, or in the footnotes below. 7. Emphasizing accuracy over style. Since there are numerous aspects involved in the translation of a Bible, it usually takes a large team of translators more than a decade to produce one. In order to make the Dead Sea Scrolls Bible available in a reasonable amount of time, the main concern of the translators was to represent faithfully the text as found in the scrolls. We have not attempted to achieve overall stylistic consistency for the whole volume, since that would have required a far greater amount of time. 2 points, however, should be emphasized. First, we have been consistent in translating the divine name by following the practice of the Revised Standard Version and the New Revised Standard Version, i.e., the Lord for the Hebrew Yahweh, and the Lord God for Yahweh Elahitun. Second, inclusive language has been used to a considerable extent with respect to humans, but not for God. We realize all too well that more could be done in this regard, which we intend to carry out in a future edition of the Dead Sea Scrolls Bible. How to read this book. The various notes found in the main text and at the bottom of each page contain valuable information. Attention to a few details will greatly increase your appreciation of this book. The main text numbers on the line within explanatory comments the text represent verse are printed in italics and numbers set off by a square. T-square brackets surround areas lost in the scroll due to various types of damage. Verse 5 below witnesses to the reading 75 found in the Greek text of Exodus as well as at Acts 7:14, see also Gen 46:27. The Masoretic text and the Samaritan Pentateuch read 70. The New International Version has chosen to note this as a marginal reading. To date, this is the only variant from Exodus reflected in any modern translation. J5 and all the souls that see aim out of the loins of JJJ Yaakov were 75//SWA. Readings from the scrolls that differ, variants, from the traditional Hebrew text, MT, the text that forms the basis of our modern translations are printed in italics. The triangle indicates that there is a gap in the scroll, evidence of more than 2 verses before the next line. These verses were likely in the scrolls originally, but fell prey to cave worms or the ravages of time. F raised numbers following text variants in italics refer to footnoted information at the bottom of the page. In this case the reading 75 replaces the expected 70. See the following discussion of the footnotes. How to read this book. Footnotes at the beginning of each new chapter. A footnote corresponding to the chapter number will record the manuscripts that contain all or parts of the chapter. In the case of Exodus 1, a total of 4 manuscripts were found in the caves that contain this section. The existing verses follow each manuscript. The text of each chapter represents the combined manuscript evidence. Following the chapter information are the notes corresponding to the superlinear numbers in the main text. Each manuscript name begins with the number of the cave, in this case Cave 4, in which the manuscript was found. The site abbreviation follows, Q equals Qumran. A few manuscripts come from other areas. Mur equals Wadi Murabayat. Hev equals Nahal Hever Mas equals Masada Se equals Wadi Ceil. Chapter 1.4 Q Exod, 1:1-6, 16-21, Fork Paleogen Exodus, 1:4 Q Exod. Occasionally, there are 2 or more books in a scroll, Gen Exodus. If the scroll is written in ancient, Paleo, Hebrew, this is indicated. If more than one manuscript of the book came from the site, a raised letter after the book name indicates which manuscript it is. In this case, B means the second manuscript of Exodus from Cave 4 at Qumran. There are 3 ancient Bible versions referred to in the footnotes. MT equals Masoretic text, The traditional Hebrew Bible SP equals the Samaritan Pentateuch, the edition of the Hebrew Bible used by the Samaritans LXX equals the Septuagint, the ancient Greek translation of the Hebrew Bible. See the introduction for more information concerning these versions. Footnote may first be read as follows: the reading 75, see discussion of the main text above, is found in two manuscripts from Qumran Cave 4, the first Genesis manuscript, which also contains Exodus, and the second Exodus manuscript. The Greek translation also reflects this reading. The traditional Hebrew text and the Samaritan Pentateuch read 70. Diamond suit IIIIIC, IIR. I diamond suit Torah diamond suit 11 I111, IRIII, I diamond suit. Genesis as the name has come to suggest, a book of beginnings and genealogical history, was very popular among the Qumranites. Both the number of biblical manuscripts and the collection of scrolls involved with retelling its compelling stories attest to this fact. The remains of possibly 20 manuscripts were unearthed at Qumran itself, one in Cave 1, one in Cave 2, perhaps as many as 16 in Cave 4, one in Cave 6, and one in Cave 8. In addition to these manuscripts from the caves to the north of Wadi Qumran, remains of other Dead Sea Scrolls were also found, one to the south at Masada and perhaps as many as 3 at Wadi Murabayat. There is admittedly a certain degree of mystery surrounding this latter group. Due to the secrecy of their Bedouin discoverers, there will forever be some doubt as to their place of origin. In addition, it is very likely that at least 2 of the manuscripts are pieces of the same scroll, though they were obtained at different times from the Bedouin. See, such are the intrigues of scroll research. Although a scroll containing all the books of Moses, Genesis through Deuteronomy, may not have been a common item, it would necessarily have been nearly 5 times as long as the Great Isaiah Scroll. At least 2 scrolls exist that contain both Genesis and Exodus, confirming an ancient order for these 2 important books. Genesis is also attested in the ancient Hebrew script known as Paleo-Hebrew Fork Paleogen Exodl and Fork Paleogenron, the latter being the oldest scroll of Genesis, dating from the middle of the 2nd century BCE. Although the 24 manuscripts of Genesis are surpassed in number only by Psalms, Isaiah, and Deuteronomy, they are all relatively fragmentary and a. LQ-gen, 2Q-gen, 4Q-gen Exoda, 4Q-gen 4Q-gen, 4Q-gen 4Q-gen 2, 4Q-gen TTLE, 4Q-gen J, 4Q-gen, Fork Paleogen Exodus, Fork Paleogen, Seymour, Origin questionable, and Steer 1. D4Q-gen Exodus and Fork Paleogen Exodus 1. Preserve only 32 chapters among their crumbs. They do, however, reveal a text of Genesis that is generally very close to the traditional Hebrew text. Only 11 manuscripts exhibit variants beyond the more common slight deviations in spelling. These few variants show no real pattern but are best classified as mixed, or non-aligned. It is of special note that the 2, or possibly 3, manuscripts from Wadi Murabayat, dated according to their script, which places their creation at the beginning of the 2nd century CE, are identical to the traditional Hebrew text. Although the mechanics of the processes that led to the establishment of a fixed text are lost to us, see the introduction. The evidence from the Dead Sea Scrolls suggests that the current character of the Hebrew Bible dates to the early 2nd century CE. Indeed, this is one of the important contributions of the Dead Sea Scrolls. The Bible can now be seen in its final stages of development in the latter centuries BCE and even the 1st century CE. By the beginning of the 2nd century CE, various historical factors had given rise to a final text form that has been passed down virtually unchanged to this day. Retelling portions of Genesis was a popular business in the Qumran community. The Genesis Apocryphon, preserved to a length of 23 somewhat fragmentary columns, is an Aramaic work that rehearses the lives of Enoch, Lamech, Noah and his sons, and Abraham. The creation, the flood, and events in the life of Abraham were extremely popular with the writers of the Second Temple period. Theological issues found their beginnings in Genesis as well. Discussions concerning the pollution of humans and divine beings by sin were centered on the mysterious union of the sons of God and the daughters of man in Genesis 6:1-4, and messianic entissings were founded on the blessings to the tribe of Judah in Genesis 49:10. Although Genesis was not the source for legal rulings in the Qumran community, as were the next 4 books of the Torah, it does play a key role in a rather. These titles were written on the outside of the first column so as to appear when it was rolled up. 4Q249 and 4Q504, or on a special guard page that covered the manuscript in the manner of a modern book cover, IQs One of these is a manuscript of Genesis, 4q Gen ILE. As the fragment containing the title has been separated from the rest of the scroll, it has not yet been determined if it is the sole remnant of an otherwise lost scroll, or whether it should be included with some existing fragments, the best candidate being 4q Jenk. In the beginning, Bereshit 11. In the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. 2. And the earth was formless and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God.
You know, going through like their whole methodology behind like how they were deciding like what to include, what not to include, and then like how to restore, or like how to essentially restore some of these texts as far as like their translations and stuff. Since I mean, this is just like essentially, I mean, in reality, this is just like a bunch of just super random documents, right? Not necessarily stored in any particular way, shape, or fashion that you gotta like sit there and try to figure out how does this stuff go together, how does stuff goes together, how do you translate what is it? How do you translate a language? How do you translate an ancient language that doesn't have like the nuances and the sort of the I wish I knew the vocabulary for it. It's like I can understand it, I just can't explain it because I don't have the vocabulary to explain it. But like it's just like there's think of like how like when you're trying to translate languages from like our current languages, right? From English to Chinese, or like the English to like Jesus, why does this keep because of that. I'm gonna turn that notification off thing. Hold on, because if I hear it one more time, I will go mad. Hold on 1 second here. Oh, do I just like this and say notifications? Can I turn notification sound? Show notifications, show reminders. Where's the thing for the notification sounds though? Anybody know? I'm saying it like I have some, like I'm gonna be, I'm just realizing that allow notifications to play sound. Okay, let me just disable that and bring it down so I can remember to cut it back on later. But yeah, I'm saying that like I'm going to even know when somebody actually messages, because I just realized I don't have a means of figuring out how to like see my messages now, because this YouTube chat thing is broken. My life's a struggle. But anyway, right? There are certain languages that when you try to translate them, like think of like if I try to use Google Translate, right? If you were to try to translate one language to the other, you would need to have a translator. You need to have like a whole process and everything, right? For translating one language, how it's designed and made, as far as its nuances and grammar rules and everything, and be able to accurately translate that to another language that has its own rules and stuff like that, right? And if you think about it, our world, right, has a ton of languages. So like if I wanted to translate English to Spanish, English to French, English to German, English to Japanese, right? Like after a while that gets crazy, and it's just because like it just becomes like a bit what do they say, untenable, just because like it's such a tremendous amount of work to be able to like accurately translate one language to another. So like what ends up happening is that you end up opting for like a simpler solution where, if I'm not mistaken, I think like a lot of languages are translated to like one language or two before they're then translated to something else. It might be English. English might be like the central language, maybe. I don't know. I know that that's like the process. It's just like with flights, right? Aircraft, like air travel, right? If you was to try, if you had a flight that can go to any airport from any airport, right? Think of like the logistically the amount of flights that would have to be managed and controlled, and that's just not a good way of managing that stuff. So what do? You have connecting flights where all these airports from this general area, all these flights have to connect here, and from here we can go here, and here, right? And so like with languages, right, the translation thing is just so much easier to do like that. So like for them, when they were like, oh well, I'm trying to want to be able to get the translations out as soon as and as best as we can. What do? They just, it's like, all right, look, we're gonna not, I ain't gonna say like do it the easy way, but like there was just a lot of things that they could have easily improved on or made better. Because I think like what isn't like one of the chief complaints about like the religious texts, like the Bibles and stuff like that, is that, oh, it's inconsistent. One person says this and the other person actually says it's this, and it's just like whatever. So like I can appreciate that they really put a lot of like thought into that. And they also like were trying to compete with like different things that they wanted to accomplish in the translations. So that's awesome. So that's really good that we got that we got that background, and of course like how they also structured it too. So like for the stuff that's like translated, right, that what didn't necessarily come from the text, but we're going to like kind of like basically fill in, have brackets or whatever. It's like, okay, so that's cool.
Moved upon the face of the waters. 3 And God said, let there be.
And then here we go, right? And so here, apparently this is the very beginning. So here we go to very first, what was like the first book, Genesis, right? Genesis Bible. Man, all right. Of course, right? Because clearly, if I sit there,
only 4 manuscripts among the more than 8, 4Q249, and if it is the sole remnant of an otherwise lost scroll.
If I sit there and pause and play enough times, it's just, I guess it just craps out on me.
Or whether it should be included with some existing fragments, the best candidate being 4. In the beginning, Bereshit 11. In the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. 2 And the earth was formless and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. 3 And God said, let there be light, and there was light. 4 And God saw that the light was good, and God separated the light from the darkness. 5 And God called the light daytime, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening and there was morning one day. 6 And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. 7 And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. 8 And God called the firmament Heaven. And there was evening and there was morning, a second day. Registered. Although no variants from the scrolls have yet worked their way into modern Bible translations of Genesis, footnotes 3 and 4 in verse 9 manifest prime candidates. The precursor to the Septuagint reading of gathering, mikveh, rather than the traditional Hebrew place, makam, is found in the Dead Sea Scroll classified as 4Q Gen. In addition, the accomplishment of God's command, footnote 4, again found in the Greek, is evident in 4Q Genk. Although most of the variants from the scrolls are not necessarily better, both of these readings may represent the original form of the text. Title: 4Q Gent D Chapter 1.4Q Gen, 1:1-28, 4Q Gens, 1:1-11, 13-22, 4Q Gen, 1:8-10, 4Q Genk, 1:9, 14-16, 27-28, 4Q Gent, 1:18-27, LQ Gen, 1:18-21, PAP 4Q Gen. 4Q 483-128. 4Q Gen Star. Day MTSPLXX. 9 And God said, let the waters underneath to the heavens be gathered together in one gathering. 3 And let the dry land appear. And it was so. And the waters under the heavens gathered to their gatherings, and the dry land appeared. 2, 3, 4, 10 And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering of the waters called he seas, and God saw that it was good. 1 And God said, let the earth put forth grass, herbs yielding seed, and fruit trees bearing fruit after their kind, with seed in them, on the earth. And it was so. 12 And the earth brought forth grass herbs yielding seed after their kind, and trees bearing fruit, with seed in them, after their kind. And God saw that it was good. 13 And there was evening and there was morning, a third day. 14 And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to separate the day from the night, and they were 5 for signs, and for seasons, and for days, and for 6 years. 15 And let them be for lights in the firmament of heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. 16 And God made the 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. 17 And God set them in the firmament of heaven to give light on the earth. 18 And to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness, and God saw that it was good. 19 And there was evening and there was morning, a fourth day. 20 And God said, Let the waters teem with swarms of living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven. 21 And God created the great sea monsters, and every living creature that moves, with which the waters swarmed, after their kind, and every winged bird after its kind. And God saw that it was good. 22 And God blessed them, saying, Be fruitful, and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and the birds shall 7 multiply on the earth. 23 And there was evening and there was morning, a fifth day. 24 And God said, Let the earth bring forth living creatures after their kind, cattle, and creeping things, and beasts of the earth after their kind. And it was so. 25 And God made the beasts of the earth after their kind, and the cattle after their kind, and everything that creeps upon the ground after its kind. And God saw that it was good. 26 And God said, Let us make humankind in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing too. 4 QGens under MTSP3. 4 QGen LXX. Place 4 QGen MTSP. 4 QGen LXX. Not in 4 QGen MTSP5. 4 QGens and let them be 4 QGen that creeps up on the EARTH. 27 And God created humankind in his own image, in the image of God created he them, male and female he created them. 28 And God blessed them, and God said to them, Be fruitful, and multiply and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over every living thing that moves upon the earth. 2:1 And the heavens and the earth were finished, and all their hosts. 2 And on the seventh day God finished his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. 3 And God blessed the seventh day, and sanctified it, because in it he rested from all his work which God had created and made. 6 But a mist used to rise up from the earth and water the whole face of the ground. 7 And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living being. 14 And the name of the third river is Tigris, it flows on the east of Assyria. And the fourth river is the Euphrates. 15 And the Lord God took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to cultivate it and to keep it. 16 And the Lord God commanded the man, saying, Of every tree of the garden you may eat freely. 17 But of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, you shall not eat from it, for in the day that you eat from it you shall surely die. 18 And the Lord God said, It is not good that the man should be alone, I will make him a partner for him. 19 And out of the ground the Lord God formed every beast of the field, and every bird of the sky, and brought them to the man to see what he would call them, and whatever the man called a living creature, that was its name. 3:1 Now the serpent was more crafty than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said to the woman, Has God really ******** 8 said, You shall not eat of any tree of the garden. 2 And the woman said to the serpent, From the fruit of the trees of the garden we may eat. 11 And he said, Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten of the tree from which I commanded you not to eat? 12 And the man said, The woman whom you gave to be with me, he gave me of the tree, and I ate. 13 And the Lord God said to the woman, What is **** you have done? And the woman said, The serpent deceived me, and I ate. 14 And the Lord God said to the serpent, Because you have done this, cursed are you more than all. Chapter 2. 4 QGen, 2:1-3, 4 QGen, 2:6-7, or 18-19, 4 QGen, 2:14-19, 4 QGen 2. 2:17-18 Chapter 3. 4 QGen, 3:1-2, L QGen, 3:11-14. 8 Interrogative particle 4 QGen. Not in MTSP. Cattle, and more than every beast of the field, upon your belly shall you go, and dust shall you eat all the days of your life. 4:2 And again she gave birth to his brother Abel. And Abel was a keeper of flocks, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. 3 And in the course of time, see and brought an offering to the Lord from the fruit of the ground. 4 And Abel also brought of the firstlings of his flock and of their fat portions. And the Lord looked with favor on Abel and his offering. 5 But on Cain and his offering he did not look with favor. And Cain was very angry, and his face was downcast. 6 And the Lord said to Cain, Why are you angry, and why is your face downcast? 7 If you do well, will you not be accepted? And if you do not well, sin croches at the door, and its desire is to have you, but you must rule over it. 8 And Cain told Abel his brother. And when they were in the field, Cain rose up against Abel his brother, and killed him. 9 And the Lord said to Cain, Where is your brother Abel? And he said, I do not know, am I my brother's keeper? 10 And he sighed, What have you done? The voice of your brother's blood is crying to me from the ground. 11 And now cursed are you from the ground, which has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. 5:13 And Kenan lived 840 years after he became the father of Mahalalel, and had other sons and daughters. 14 So all the days of Kenan were 910 years, and he died. 6:13 And God said to Noah, The end of all flesh has come before me, for the earth is filled with violence because of them, and behold, I am about to destroy them with the earth. 14 Make for yourself an ark of gopher wood, make rooms in the ark, and coat it in sgide and out with pitch. 15 And this is how you shall make it: the length of the ark 300 cubits, its breadth 50 cubits, and its height 30 cubits. 16 You shall make a window for the ark, and finish it within a cubit of the top, and the door of the ark you shall set in the side, you shall make it with lower, second, and 30 decks. 17 And I myself am about to bring the flood of water upon this earth, to destroy all flesh in which is the breath of life, from under heaven, everything that is on the earth shall die. 18 But I will establish my covenant with you, and you shall go into the ark, you and your sons, and your wife, and your sons' wives with you. 19 And of every living thing of all flesh, you shall bring 2 of every kind into the ark to keep them alive with you, they shall be male and female. 20 Of the birds after their kind, and of the cattle after their kind, of every creeping thing of the ground. Chapter 4. 4 Qjanb, 4:2-11. Chapter 5. 4 Qjanb, Gen 5:13, or 14. After their 9 kmd, 2 of every sort shall come to you to keep them alive. 21 And as for you, you must take some of every kind of food that is to be eaten, and gather it to yourself, and it shall be for food for you, and for them. 8:20 And Noah built an altar to the Lord, and took of every clean beast and of every clean bird, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. 21 And the Lord smelled the pleasing aroma, and the Lord said in his heart, I will never again curse the ground because of man, for the inclination of man's heart is evil from his youth, neither will I again destroy every living thing, as I have done. And 12 And he among you that is 8 days old shall be circumcised, every male throughout your generations, he that is born in the house, or bought with money of any foreigner that is not of your offspring. 13 He that is born in your house, and he that is bought with your money, must be circumcised. My covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. 14 And the uncircumcised male who is not circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin shall be cut off from his people. He has broken my covenant. 15 And God said to Abraham, As for Sarai your wife, you shall not call her name Sarai, but her name shall be Sarah. 16 And I will bless her, and I will surely give you a son of her. Indeed, I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of peoples shall come from her. 17 Then Abraham fell upon his face, and laughed, and said in his heart, Shall a child be born to him that is 100 years old? And shall Sarah, that is 90 years old, give birth? 18 And Abraham said to God, O that Ishmael might live before you. 19 And God said, No, but Sarah your wife shall bear you a son, and you shall call his name Isaac. And I will establish my covenant with him as an everlasting covenant for his offspring after him. 10:0 And the Lord said, Because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous. 21 I will go down now, and see whether they have done as daily as its outcry, which is come to me. And if not, I will know. 22 And the men turned from there and went toward Sodom. But Abraham was still standing before the Lord. 23 And Abraham approached and said, Will you destroy the righteous with the wicked? 24 Suppose there are 50 righteous within the city. Will you destroy and not spare the place for the 50 righteous? That are in ITT 25 far be it from you to do t his thing 10 to slay the righteous with 9. 6 Q Gen SPLXX. It's MT chapter 8. 4 Q Gen Exoda, 8:20-21. Chapter 17. 8 Q Gen, 17:12-19. Chapter 18. 8 Q Gen, 18:20-25. 10 8 Q Gen. To do such a thing as this, the wicked, so Chapter 17. 8 Q Gen, 17:12-19. The wicked, so that the righteous should be treated as the wicked. Far be it from you. Shall not the judge of all the earth do right? A 1Q And Abraham arose early in the morning and went to the place where he had stood before the Lord. 28 And he looked toward Sodom and Gomorrah, and toward all the land of the plain, and saw, and behold, the smoke of the land went up as the smoke of a furnace. A 13 And Abraham lifted up his eyes, and looked, and behold, behind him a Zl/Ram caught in the thicket by his horns. And Abraham went and took the ram, and offered him up for a burnt offering instead of his son. Since, according to the Bible itself, the name Yahweh translated Lord in most modern editions of the Bible was later revealed to Moses in the book of Exodus, 3:13-15, students of the Pentateuch have long debated the use of Yahweh in the book of Genesis. A common solution suggests that an early author/editor indiscriminately used the term in his copying of the text. 4 Q Gen Exodus, sure to fuel the debate afresh, replaces the term Yahweh in Genesis 22:14 with the more common Hebrew term for God. Thus the familiar Jehovah Jireh becomes Elohim Jireh. 1:4 And Abraham called the name of that Placegod will provide. As it is said to this day, on the mountain of the Lord it shall be provided. 15 And the angel of the Lord called to Abraham a second time from heaven. AR/017 So Ephron's field, which was in Machpelah, before Mamre, the field. And the Cave which was in it, and all the trees that were in the field, that were within all the surrounding boundaries of the field, were dead at 18 to Abraham for a possession in the presence of the children of Heth, before all that went in at the gate of his city. 19 And after this Abraham buried Sarah his wife in the cave of the field of Machpelah before Mamre, that is, Hebron, in the land of Canaan. AO/4J22 And when the Camas were done drinking, the man took a golden Ai ring of half a shekel weight, and 2 bracelets for her hands of 10 shekels weight of gold, 23 And said, Whose daughter are you? Tell me, I pray you. Is there room in your father's house for us to lodge in? 24 And she said to him, I am the daughter of Bethuel the son of Milcah, whom she had born to Nahor. Chapter 19. 2 Q Gen, 19:27-28. Chapter 22. LQ Gen, 22:13-15, 4 Q Gen Exodus 1, 22:14. 11 4 Q Gen Exoda. The Lord MTSPLXX. Chapter 23. LQ Gen, 23:17-19. O/T21 And they dug another well, and they fought over that too. And he carried J named it Sitnah. 22 And he moved from there, and dug the last 12 well, and they did not fight over it. And he named it Rehoboth. And he said, For now the Lord has made room for us, and we shall be fruitful in the land. 23 And he went up from there to Beer-Sheba. 24 And the Lord appeared to him the same night, and said, I am the God of Abraham your father. Fear not, for I am with you, and will bless you, and multiply your seed for my servant Abraham's sake. 25 And he built an altar there, and called upon the name of the Lord. And we said, Let there now be an oath between us, even between us and you, and let us make a covenant with you. J38 And Esau said to his father, Have you only one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice, and wept. 39 And Isaac his father answered and said to him, Behold, away from the richness of the earth shall be your dwelling, and away from the dew of heaven from above. 42 And the words of Esau her elder son were told to Rebekah. And she sent and called Jacob her younger son, and said to him, Behold, your brother Esau is consoling himself concerning you, by plotting to kill you. 43 Now therefore, my son, obey my voice, and arise, flee to Laban my brother in Haran. O/Carod, 3 And Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau his brother to the land a pound Jove Seir, the field of Edom. 4 And he commanded Thm, saying, Thus shall you say to my lord Esau, Thus says your servant Jacob, I have sojourned with Laban, and stayed until now. 8:29 And Jacob asked him and said, Tell me, I pray you, your name. And he said, Why is it that you ask about my name? And he blessed him there. 32 Therefore the children of Israel do not eat the sinew of the hip which is upon the hollow of the thigh to this day, because he touched the socket of Jacob's thigh in the sinew of the hip. 001 And Jacob lifted up his eyes, and looked, and behold, Esau was coming, and with him 400 men. And he divided the children to Leah, and to Rachel, and to the 2 maids. Chapter 26. Fork Paleogen, 26:21-28. 12 Fork Paleogen. Another MTSPLXX. Chapter 27. Fork Eugenixocf, 27:38-39, 42-43. Chapter 32. Muergen, 32. 18 And Jacob came safely to the city of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan, when he came from Paddan Aram, and camped before the city. 19 And he bought the plot of ground where he had pitched his tent from the children of Hamor, Shechem's father, for 100 pieces of money. 20 And he erected an altar there, and called it El-Elohe Israel. 0A1 And Dinah the daughter of Leah, whom she had borne to Jacob, went I out to see the daughters of the land. 2 And Shechem the son of Elamar the Hivite, the prince of the land, saw Her, and took her, and violated her. 3 And He was attracted to Dinah the daughter of Jacob, and he loved the girl and spoke from his heart to her. 4 And Shechem spoke to his father Hamor, saying, Get this girl to be my wife. 5 Now when Jacob heard that he had defiled Dinah his daughter, his sons were with his cattle in the field, so Jacob kept quiet until they came. 6 And Hamor the father of Shechem went out to Jacob to talk with him. 7 And the sons of Jacob came in from the field when they heard it, and the men were grieved, and they were very angry because he had done an outrageous thing in Israel by lying with Jacob's daughter, a thing which ought not be done. 17 But if you will not listen to us to be circumcised, then we will take our daughter and go. 18 And their words pleased Hamor and Shechem, Hamor's son. 19 And the young man did not hesitate to do the thing, because he was delighted with Jacob's daughter. He was the most respected of all his father's household. 20 And Hamor and Shechem his son came to the gate of their city, and spoke with the men of their city, saying, 21 These men are friendly toward us, therefore let them live in the land, and trade in it, for behold, the land is large enough for them. Let us take their daughters for our wives, and let us give them our daughters. 30 And Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, You have brought trouble on me by making me odious to the inhabitants of the land, among the Canaanites and the Perizzites. I being few in number, they will gather themselves together against me and attack me, and I shall be destroyed, I and my household. 31 And they said, Should he treat our sister as a harlot? 01 And God said to Jacob, Arise, go up to Bethel and live there, and make an altar there to God who appeared to you when you fled from Esau your brother. 4 And they gave to Jacob 11 the foreign gods which they had, and the rings which were in their ears, and Jacob buried them under the oak which was at Shechem. Chapter 34. Muer. Gen, 34:1-3, Muer Gen, 34:5-7, 30-31, 4Q Gen Exodus, 34:17-21. Chapter 35. Muer Gen, 35:1, Zdir Gen, 35:6-10, 24-29, Muer Gen, 35:47, 4Q Gen Exoda, 35:17-29. 5 And they journeyed, and the terror of God fell upon the cities that were round about them, so that they did not pursue the sons of Jacob. 6 So Jacob came to Luz, that is, Bethel, which is in the land of Canaan, he and all the people that were with him. 7 And he built there an altar and called the place El Bethel, because God had revealed himself to him there, when he fled from his brother. 8 And Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, died, and she was buried under the oak below Bethel, so it was called Alon Bakuth. 9 And God appeared to Jacob again, when he came from Paddan Aram, and blessed him. 10 And God said to him, Your name is Jacob, but your name shall no longer be called Jacob, Israel shall be your name. So he named him Israel. A17 And when her labor was difficult, the midwife said to her, Do not be afraid, for you have another son. 18 And as her soul was departing for she died she met him Ben-Oni, but his father called him Benjamin. 19 So Rachel died and was buried on the way to Ephrath, that is, Bethlehem. 20 And Jacob set up a pillar over her grave, it is the pillar of Rachel's grave to this day. 21 And Israel journeyed on and pitched his tent beyond the tower of Eder. 22 And while Israel was living in that land, Reuben went and lay with Bilhah his father's concubine, and Israel heard about it. Now the sons of Jacob were twelve, 23 the sons of Leah, Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, Simon 13 and Levi. And Judah and Issachar and Zebulun, 24 the sons of Rachel, Joseph and Benjamin, 25 the 14 sons of Bilhah, Rachel's handmaid, Dan and Naphtali, 26 the 15 sons of Zilpah, Leah's handmaid, Gad and Asher. These are the sons of Jacob whom she bore 16 to him in Paddan Aram. 27 And Jacob came to Isaac his father, to Mamre of Kiriath-arba, that is, Elebron, where Abraham and Isaac sojourned. 28 And the days of Isaac were 180 years. 29 And Esau breathed his last and died and was gathered to his people, old and full of days. And his sons Esau and Jacob buried him. 0/1 Now these are the generations of Esau, that is, Edom. 2 Esau took his wives from the daughters of Canaan, Adah the daughter of Elon the Hittite, and Oholibamah the daughter of Anna and granddaughter of Zibeon the Hivite. 3 And Basemath Ishmael's daughter, sister of Nebaioth. 4 And Adah bore Eliphaz to Esau, and Basemath bore Ruel. 5 And Oholibamah bore Jush, 17-13. 4 Qgen Exoda LXX. And Simeon MTSP 14. 4 Qgen Exoda. And the MTSP LXX. 15 4 Qgen Exoda. And the MTSP LXX. 16 4 Qgen Exoda. Was Hornsdeer Gen MT. Were born SPLXX. Chapter 36. 4 Qgen Exoda, 36:1-13, 19-27, Sdir Gen, 36:1-2, 5-17, 2 Qgen, 36:6, 35-37, 4 Qgen, 36:43. 17 4 Qgen Exoda MT Kir SPLXX. MT Ketib. And Jalam, and Korah, these are the sons of Esau who were born to him in the land of Canaan. 6 And Esau took his wives and his sons and his daughters and all the members of his household, and his cattle, all his beasts, and all his possessions which he had gathered in the land of Canaan, and went into a land away from his brother Jacob. 7 For their possessions were too great for them to live together, and the land where they were living could not support them because of their livestock. 8 And Esau lived in the hill country of Seir. Esau is Edom. 9 And these are the generations of Esau the father of the Edomites in the hill country of Seir. 10 These are the names of Esau's sons, Eliphaz the son of Adah the wife of Esau, Reuel the son of Basemath the wife of Esau. 11 And the sons of Eliphaz were Taman, Omar, Zepho, and Gatam, and Kenaz. 12 And Timnah was concubine to Eliphaz Esau's son, and she bore to Eliphaz Amalek. These are the grandsons of Adah, Esau's wife. 13 And these are the sons of Reuel, Nahat, and Zerah, Shan Lma, and Mizah. The Se were the grandsons of Basemath, Esau's wife. 14 And these were the sons of Esau's wife Oholibamah the daughter of Anna, the granddaughter of Zibeon, and she bore to Esau Jush, and Jalam, and Korah. Lb These are the chiefs of the sons of Esau, the sons of Eliphaz the firstborn of Esau, chief Taman, chief Omar, chief Zepho, chief Kenaz, 16 Chief Korah, chief Gatam, chief Amalek. These are the chiefs of Eliphaz in the land of Edom. These are the sons of Adah. 17 And these are the sons of Reuel, Esau's son, Nahat, chief Zerah, chief Shammah, chief Mizah. These are the chiefs that came of Reuel in the land of Edom. These are the sons of Basemath, Esau's wife. 18 And these are the sons of Oholibamah, Esau's wife, chief Jush, chief Jalam, chief Korah. These are the chiefs born of Oholibamah the daughter of Anna, Esau's wife. 19 These are the sons of Esau, that is, Edom, and these are their chiefs. 20 These are the sons of Seir the Horite, the inhabitants of the land, Lotan and Shobal and Zibeon and Anna. 21 And Dishon and Ezer and Dishan. These are the chiefs that came of the Horites, the children of Seir in the land of Edom. 22 And the children of Lotan were Hori and Eman. And Lotan's sister was Timnah. 23 And these are the children of Shobal, Alvan and Manahath and Ebal, Shepho and Onam. 24 And these are the children of Zibeon, Ea and Anna. This is Anna who found the hot springs in the wilderness as he fed the donkeys. Of Zibeon his father. 25 And Thsa are the children of Anna, Dishon and Oholibamah the daughter of Anna. 26 And these are the children of Dishon, Hemdan and Eshban and Ithran and Cheran. 27 These are the children of Ezer, Bilhan and Zaban and Achan. 35 And Husham died, and Hadad the son of Bedad, who defeated Midian in the field of Moab, became king in his place. And the name of his city was Ajvath. 36 And Hadad died, and Samlah of Masrekah became king in his place. 37 And Samlah died, and Shaul of Rehoboth by the river became king in his place. 43 Chief Mahoidiel, Chief Iram. These are the chiefs of Edom, according to their settlements in the land of their possession. This is Esau, the father of the Edomites. Oj1 And Jacob lived in the land of his father's sojournings, in the land of Canaan. 2 These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brothers, and he grew up with the sons of Bilhah, and with the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought a bad report about them to their father. A 5 And Hosea had a dream, and when he told it to his brothers, they hated him all the more. 6 And he said to them, Please listen to this dream which I had. L22 And Reuben said to them, Shed no blood, throw him into this pit that is in the wilderness, but lay no hand upon him that he might rescue him from them, to restore him to his father. 23 And And Joseph came to his brothers, they stripped Joseph of his coat, the coat of many colors that was on him. 24 And they took him and threw him into the pit. And the pit was empty, there was no water in it. 25 And they sat down to eat their meal. And they lifted up their eyes and looked, and behold, a caravan of Ishmaelites was coming from Gilead, with their camels bearing spices and balm and myrrh, on their way to carry them down to Egypt. 26 And Judah said to his brothers, What profit is there if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? 27 Come, and let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and not lay our hands on him, for he is our brother, our flesh. And his brothers listened to him. 28 And when the Midianite merchants passed by, they pulled and lifted Joseph out of the pit and sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. And they brought Hosea to Egypt. 29 And when Reuben returned to the pit, behold, Joseph was not in the pit, he tore his clothes. 30 And he returned to his brothers, and said, The boy is not there, and I, where shall I go? OQ11 And about this time he went to the house to do his work, and none of v9 why the men of the house were there. 12 And she caught him by his garment, saying, Lie with me. And he left his garment in her hand and fled, and went out. 13 And when she saw that he had left his garment in her hand and run out. 14 She called to the men of her house, and spoke to them, saying, See, he has brought in a Hebrew to us to take advantage of us. He came in to me to lie with me, and I screamed. 15 And when he heard that I screamed and called out, he left his garment by me and fled, and went out. 16 And she kept his garment with her until his master came home.
That is crazy. I'm sorry, that just sounds crazy. Did I just listen to that right? Does this just sound like a setup? Like a crazy setup? Jesus Christ. And about this time, he went to the house to do his work, and none of the men else were there. And she caught him by his garment, saying, Lie with me. And he left his garment in her hand and fled and went out. And when she saw that he had left his garment in her hand and ran out, she called to the men of her house and spoke to them, saying, See, he has brought in a Hebrew to take advantage of us. He came into me to lie with me, and I screamed. Yeah, he came into me. That's what I heard. He came into me. I believe that's I don't remember when I read the Bible. I think that's how they say like some type of a sexual act, I suppose. But that is just that's just crazy. That setup is just wild.
17 And she spoke with these words, saying, The Hebrew servant whom you have brought to us, came in to me to chapter 37. 4q Sen, 37:1-2, 27-30, 4q Gen Exodus, 37:5-6, 22-27. Take advantage of me. 18 And when I screamed and called out, he left his garment beside me and ran out. 19 And when his master heard the words of his wife, which she spoke to him, saying, After this Inanna your servant did to me, his anger was great. 20 And Joseph's master took him, and put him into the prison, the place where the king's prisoners were bound, and he was the in the prison. 21 But the Lord was with Joseph, and showed kindness to him, and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the pri son. 22 And the keeper of the prison changed Joseph with all the prisoners who were in the prisphone, and whatever they did there, he was responsible for it. 23 The keeper of the prison paid no attention to anything in his care, because the Lord was with him, and that which he did, the Lord made to prosper. I1 And after these things, the seal-bearer of the king of Egypt and the Elvib-faker offended their lord the king of Egypt. 12 And Joseph said to him, This is its interpretation, the 3 branches are 3 days, 13 Within 3 more days Pharaoh shall lift up your head and restore you to your office, and you shall give Pharaoh's cup into his hand, after the former manner when you were his cupbearer. 18 And Joseph answered and said, This is its interpretation, the 3 baskets are threes. 19 Within 3 more days Pharaoh shall lift up your head from off you, and shall hang you on a tree, and the birds shall eat at your flesh from off you. 20 And on the 3rd day, which was Pharaoh's birthday, he made a feast for all his servants, and he lifted up the head of the chief cupbearer and the head of the chief bakr among his servants. 21 And he restored the chief cup-bearer to his cupbearing again, and he gave the cup into Pharaoh's hand. 22 But he hanged the chief baker as Joseph had interpreted to them. 23 Yet the chief cupbearer did not remember Joseph, but forgot him. And at the end of 2 full years, Pharaoh had a dream, and behold, he stood by the river. 2 And behold, there came up out of the river 7 cows, sleek and fat, and they fed among the reeds. 3 And behold, 7 other cows came up after them out of the river, ugly and in 19 And stood by the other cows upon the bank of the river. 4 And the ugly and gaunt cows ate up the 7 sleek and fat cows. So Pharaoh awoke. 5 And he slept and dreamed a second time, and behold, 7 ears of grain came up upon one stalk, healthy. Chapter 40. 4q Gen Exoda, 40:1, 4q Genk, 40:12-13, 18-23, 4q Genk, 40:18-23. 18 Masculine 4q Gene. Feminine MTSP Chapter 41. 4q Genk, 41:1-11, 4q Gen, 41:1-8, 35-44, 4q Gerd, 41:15-18, 23-27, 29-30, and good. 6 And behold, 7 ears, and 20 blasted by the east wind, came up after them. 7 And the ears, and blasted by the east wind 2 swallowed up the 7 healthy and full ears. And Pharaoh awoke, and behold, it was a dream. 8 And in the morning his spirit was troubled, and he sent and called for all the magicians of Egypt, and all its wise men. And Pharaoh told them his dreams, but there was none that could interpret them for Pharaoh. 9 Then spoke the chief cupbearer to Pharaoh, saying, I do remember my sins this day. 10 Pharaoh was angry with his servants, and put me in jail in the house of the captain of the guard, me and the chief baker. 1 And we had a dream in one night, I and he, we each dreamed according to the interpretation of his dream. 15 And Pharaoh said to Joseph, I have had a dream, and there is none that can interpret it, and I have been told of you, that when you hear a dream you can interpret it. The scroll labeled 4q Gen contains the precursor to the following reading found in both the Septuagint and the Samaritan Pentateuch texts. Because of the potentially arrogant interpretation of this particular version, it could be read as, apart from me Joseph, God will give no answer concerning the welfare of Pharaoh. It is possible that a scribe in antiquity removed the second negative to protect the character of Joseph. 4q Gen J, with the Septuagint and the Samaritan Pentateuch, may, in fact, represent the original version. 16 And Joseph answered Pharaoh, saying, Apart from Godi, the welfare of Pharaoh shall receive no answer. 22:17 And Pharaoh spoke to Joseph, in my dream, behold, I stood upon the brink of the river. 18 And behold, there came up out of the river 7 cows, fat and sleek, and Theyfed among the reeds. 23. And behold, 7 ears, Wthered, Thin, and blasted by the east wind, came up after them. 24 And the 7 23 thin ears swallowed up the 7 good ears. Now, I told it to the magicians, but there was none that could interpret it for me. 25 And Joseph said to O Pharaoh, the dreams of Pharaoh are one and the same, what God is about to do he has declared to Pharaoh. 26 The 7 good cows are 7 years, and the 7 good ears are 7 years, the dreams are one and the same. 27 And the 7 lean and ugly cows that came up after them. Are 7 years, and also the 7 empty ears blasted by the east wind, they 20. 4 Qjenk thin and 4 Qjenk mtsplxx. 21 4 Qjenk lxx. Not in mtsp. 22 4 Qjen splxx. It is not in me, God will give Pharaoh a suitable answer. Mt. Shall be 7 years of famine. 28 That is the thing which I spoke to Pharaoh, what God is about to do he has shown Pharaoh. 29 Behold, 7 years of great abundance are coming throughout all the land of Egypt. 30 And after them came 24 7 years of famine, and all the plenty shall be forgotten in the land of Egypt, and the famine shall destroy the land. 31 And the place enti shall not be known in the land because of that famine which follows, for it shall be very severe. 32 And the reason that the dream was repeated to Pharaoh is because the thing is established by God and God will shortly bring it about. 33 Now therefore let Pharaoh look for a man who is discerning and wise and set him over the land of Egypt. 34 Let Pharaoh do this and let him appoint overseers over the land, and collect a 5th part of the produce of the land of Egypt in the 7 years of abundance. 35 And let them gather all the food of these coming good years and store the grain under the authority of Pharaoh as food for the cities, and let them guard it. 36 And the food shall be a reserve for the land against the 7 years of famine, which shall be in the land of Egypt, that the land might not be destroyed. 25 By the famine. 37 And the plan appeared good to Pharaoh and to all his servants. 38 And Pharaoh said to his servants, can we find such a one as this? A man in Whom is the spirit of the gods. 39 And Pharaoh said to Joseph, since God has shown you all of this, there is none so discerning and wiser than 26 you. 40 You shall be over my house, and all my people shall submit to your word. Only in the throne will I be greater than you. 41 And Pharaoh said to Joseph, see, I have set you over all the land of Egypt. 42 And Pharaoh took his signet ring from his hand, and put it upon Joseph's hand, and arrayed him in robes of fine linen, and put a gold chain about his neck. 43 And he had him ride in his 2nd chariot, and they cried before him, bow the knee. And he set him over all the land of Egypt. 44 And Pharaoh said to Joseph, I am Pharaoh, and without you shall no man lift up his hand or his foot in all the land of Egypt. Ajl 1:5. By this you shall be tested, by the life of Pharaoh, you shall not go forth from here unless your youngest brother comes here. 16 Send one olu to get your brother, and the rest of you shall remain confined that your words may be tested to see whether you are telling the truth. If not, by the life of Pharaoh you are surely spies. 17 And he put the in together injl for 3 dis. 18 And Joseph said to them, on the t heard the y do ts and leave, for I-24. 4 Q Jenny shall come mtsplxx. 25 4 Q Jenk. Cut off MTSP chapter 42. 4 Q Jenny, 42:15-22, 38, 4 Q Gen, 42:17-19. F ear God. 19 If you be honest men, let the 27 one of your brothers be confined in your prison, and the rest of you go, carry grain for the fami ne of your households. 20 And bring your youngest brother to me, so your words might be verified, and you shall not de. And they did so. 21 And they said to one another, certainly we are being punished because of our brother. For we saw the distress of his soul when he pleaded with us, but we would not listen, therefore ts distress has come upon us. 22 And them Reuben answered 2 saying, did I not speak to you, saying, do not sin against the boy, And you would not listen? Now we must pay for the bloodshed. K38 And he said, My son shall not go down with you, for his brother is dead, and he only is left. If harm should come to him on the journey you are taking, then will you bring down my grey hairs to Sheol with sorrow. And fell famine was severe in the land. 2 And when they had eaten all jath grain which they had brought out of Egypt, their father said to them, Go back, buy us a little more food. 5 But if you will not send him, we will not go down, for the man said to us, You shall not see my face unless your brother is with you. 6 And Israel said, Why did you treat me so badly by telling the man you had another brother? 7 And they said, The man asked specifically about us and about our family, saying, Is your father still alive? Do you have another brother? And we answered his questions. How could we have known that he would say, Bring your brother down? 8 And Judah said to Israel his father, Send the boy with me and we will arise and go, that we may live and not die, we and you and also our little ones. 9 I myself will be surety for him, and 29 You may hold me responsible for him. If I do not return him to you and set him before you, then let me bear the blame forever. 10 If we had not delayed, surely we could have returned twice by now. 11 And our father Israel said to Thm, If it must be so, do take some of the choice fruits of the land in your vessels, and take them down to the man as a present, a little balm, and a little honey, spices, and myrrh, nuts, and almonds. 12 And take double the money in your hand, and the money that was returned in the mouth of your sacks return in your hand. Perhaps it was an oversight. 13 And take your brother, and arise, return to the man. 14 And may God Almighty grant you compassion before the man, that he may release to you your other brother and Benjamin. And as for me, if I be bereaved I am bereaved. 27 For Q Jenny sp. Not in MT. 28 For Q Jenny. Reuben answered them MTSPLXX. Chapter 43. 4 Q Gaby, 43:1-2, 5-8, 4 Q Jean, 43:8-14. A14 And he fell upon his brother Benjamin's neck and wept, and IJB and Jamin wept upon his neck. 15 And he kissed all his brothers and wept upon and afterwards his brothers talked with him. 16 And when the news was heard in Pharaoh's house, saying, Joseph's brothers have come, it pleased Pharaoh and his servants. 17 And Pharaoh said to Joseph, say to your brothers, do this, load up your beasts and get up and go to the land of Canaan. 18 And take your father and your households and come to me, and I will give you the best of the land of Egypt, and you shall eat the fat of the land. 19
My God, Robin, where have you been? Religious sex is hiding too, just so folks believe it. Hey, I'm just saying, this is a great, what is it? This would be like a really interesting, I don't even know what's the word to call it, where like you stage something, a multi-year plan to make it like extra conspiracy-ish or extra believable because it's like it's fake to look so real. There's a specific word for it, but I just don't know what it is. But like the idea that, like there's just all these scrolls that's in all these caves, like for somebody that had just sat there and like just fake this whole thing, plan it out into these caves, and then for like the carbon dating that the scientists did and the researchers did to just put it all the way back into like thousands of years ago. I don't know, like or maybe this is just like a multi-year, what is it, like a really giant multi-year joke that's just been passed down from generation to generation, that just all started with somebody just faking, getting somebody to believe that something is real when it's not, and then they just pass it on, and it's just like just one of those things, right? That's just like a never-ending joke, I suppose. I don't know. I think that these Dead Sea Scrolls, I don't know why they wouldn't be so why they wouldn't be real. A random religion. My gosh. What religion? I'm trying to think. I think if I was to look at a random religion, I would like the Jedi. You know the Jedi religion, where those guys believe in the Force and stuff. That stuff is good. And I missed you too, man. It's just my stuff has been. Let me sit up here before I die. My stuff has just been crashing and breaking for like a solid month, and it just took me so long to get this to to work. And so like Religion Day is a perfect time for me to try and see if I'm gonna get it if it is stable. Mostly it isn't. Well, but it looks like it's stabled out after letting it run for a while, so I think I should be good. But tomorrow we'll be able to get like right into like what we usually do, which is our politics. But I say, Thursdays and Sundays, we're going to do religious texts, reading the Dead Sea Scrolls or having it read it to us. And then, on any other day, it's just going to be all politics. So it's what I want to get back to doing. So we'll see. But I'm glad to see that you're still kicking it alive. With your, I believe you were doing your PhD stuff and teaching, setting up the next generation for all kinds of good moral characters, right? That kind of stuff, right? I believe it's something like that, right? Maybe I made all that up, but I don't know. But that's what I feel like is what you do. So let's go.
Now you are commanded, do this, take wagfans. From the land of Egypt T4Y are lit le1s, and for your wives, and bring your father, and come. 20 Also do not concern yourself with your belongings, for the best of all the lot and of Egypt is yours. 21 And the children of Israel did so, and Joseph gave them wagons, accord to the order of Pharaoh, and gave them provision for the trip. 22 To each of them he gave changes of clothing, but to Benjamin he gave 300 pieces of silver, and 5 changes of clothing. 23 And to his father he sent the following, 10 donkeys loaded with.
Well, I can say at least your life is consistent. Mine is just always, every week is just something going wrong. Whether it's just extreme stuff, being crazy, or work giving me issues with just like natural work stuff that just got to get fixed. Well, I would love to actually have a little bit of consistency in my life. The Lord knows.
The good things of Egypt, and 10 female donkeys. Loaded with grain and bread and provision for his father on the journey. 26 And they told him, saying, Joseph is still of, and he is ruler over all the land of Egypt. And he was numb, for he believed them not. 27 And they told him all the words of Joseph which he had said to them, and when he saw the wagons which Joseph had sent to carry him, the spirit of their father Jacob revived. 28 And Israel sighed, it is enough, Joseph.
If I'm not mistaken, I'm drawing a blank. Hold on, let me think about this. Weren't you were writing something? I remember us talking about you writing something. Was it a story? Was it a movie? Was it a novel? You were just definitely designing something. So that sounds about right. Like whatever is your first, like the first thing you actually put out, that I can't wait for, because I would definitely be looking forward to pre-ordering when you finally do actually produce your piece of work.
My son is still alive, I will go and see him before I die. AS7 His sons, and his sons' sons with him, his daughters, and his sons' / daughters, and he brought all his offspring with him to Egypt. 38 And these are the names of the children of Israel who came to Egypt. T31 Jacob and his sons, Reuben, Jacob's firstborn. 9 And the sons of Reuben, Hanok, and Palu, and Hezron, and Carmi. 10 And the sons of Simeon, Jemuel, and Jamin, and Ahad, and Jachin, and Zohar, and Shaul the son of a Canaanite woman. 11 And the sons of Levi, Gershon, Kohat, and Merari. /13 And there was no food in all the land, for the famine was very severe. So that the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan fainted because of the chapter 45. 4Q Jenny, 45:14-22, 26-28, 4Q Gen Exodus, 45:23. Chapter 46. Mosgen, 46:7-11. 30 Lacking directive particle Mosgen. Directive particle MTSP 31. Lacking directive particle Mosgen. Directive particle MTSP. Fami Ne. 14 And Joseph gathered up all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan for the grain which they bought, and Joseph brought the money into Pharaoh's house. A/101 And after these things Joseph was told, behold, your...
You know, I can only imagine just how complex that the dissertation for the PhD is. I remember seeing, God, what was it? Those things, I don't even know what they even call it. I don't want to call it just a paper, but those things that they do for like the masters, when you get in your master's degree and you got like that final class that's meant for you to just spend all of that semester or whatever doing like research and stuff to actually produce essentially a paper. But I recall that just being having like a lot of like critiques and a lot of stuff you have to change, work, figure out and whatnot. So I can only imagine like how your PhD stuff must just be like just unfathomable for me, because like I just shun myself away from school. I don't want to deal. I don't want to think nothing about school no more until at least another year or two, and then maybe I'll just go for my master's. Maybe. We'll see. I might do certifications first before I go for my master's, but we'll see. I might do certifications next year and then maybe my master's a year, but we'll see. I just, the amount of work is just, God, I'd rather just make money. But then you need to do that stuff in order to make more money. So I don't know. We'll see. But hope you read it one day, or I can send it. Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, definitely. If you do ever finish it, or even if you want me to look at it before you even polish it, like I would actually totally read what you got for sure. I'm gonna wrap this up now. Can I wait? Oh, resume building. There we go. I was like, why are you not building? Wait, don't tell me it doesn't reach. Oh my God, they don't reach. I guess that's fine. It'll be all right. Oh yeah, I wrote a dissertation for a master's degree, but it sucked, honestly. Oh gosh, that's those things. Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, then again, I wouldn't really know, but I think. You know, it's still a lot more work than like the average person. So even if it is bad, it's still like leaps and bounds better than like what you'd find like a regular college student when they write their papers. Okay, how much do I have in here? Okay, I need to make silicon at some point, but I think I'm gonna just stop this here. So after this page is done, we'll like wrap up this, and then we'll be
Father
good.
is sick. And he took with him his two sons Manasseh and Ephraim. 2 And Jacob was told, saying, behold, your son Joseph has come to you. And Israel strengthened himself and sat up on the bed. 3 And Jacob said to Joseph, God Almighty appeared to me at Luz in the land of Canaan, and blessed me. 4 And said to me, behold, I will make you fruitful, and multiply you, and I will make of you a company of peoples, and will give this land to your offspring after you as an everlasting possession. 5 And now your two sons, who were born to you in the land of Egypt before I came to you in Egypt, are mine.
Oh, it's a book? Oh, this'll be good. Man, that I'm sure is going to be such a piece of work. I am looking forward to it. Can't wait to see what you make. A whole book. I'm thinking you're just doing like a like one of those like super long paper things, like 50 pages or something. But if it's an entire book, well now, so like 200 300 pages, about that many. That's what you got. Oh, come on. Now why is the religion thing?
30 Lacking directive particle Hannah, the wagons which Joseph Hannah. 30 Fami Ne. And he took with him his two sons Manasseh and Ephraim. 2 And Jacob was told, saying, behold, your son Joseph has come to you. And Israel strengthened himself and sat up on the bed. 3 And Jacob said to Joseph, God Almighty appeared to me at Luz in the land of Canaan, and blessed me. 4 And said to me, behold, I will make you fruitful, and multiply you, and I will make of you a company of peoples, and will give this land to your offspring after you as an everlasting possession. 5 And now your 2 sons, who were born to you in the land of Egypt before I came to you in Egypt, are mine. Ephraim and Manasseh, even as are Reuben and Simeon are mine. 6 And your children which others 32 are born to you shall be yours, they shall be called by the name of fair brothers in their inheritance. 7 And as for me, when I see Amy from Paddan, Rachel died, to my sorrow, in the land of Canaan on the way, when there was still some distance 33 to come to Ephrath 34, that is 35 Bethlehem. 8 And Israel saw Joseph's sons and said, Who are these? 9 And Joseph said 36 They are my sons whom God has given me here. And he said, Please bring them to me, and I will bless them. 10 Now the eyes of Israel were dim because of old age 31 so that he could not see. And he brought them close to him, and he embraced them, and kissed them. 3 I11 And Israel said to Joseph, I had not thought I would see your face again, and behold, God has let me see your children also. 15 And he blessed Joseph, and said, The God before whom my fathers Abraham and Isaac did walk, the God who has fed me all my life to this day. 16 The angel who has redeemed me from all evil, bless the boys. And
300 pages. 300 pages is quite a bit. I'm trying to think. I don't know how many students you got. It's a PhD thing, right? I don't think there's that many. I don't know how big a class of PhD students particularly are at times. But 300 pages, I'm not gonna lie, 300 pages does seem like quite a bit for a professor to read. Because I was just thinking, like, I read, when I was reading the Bible and doing 25 pages per reading and doing it twice a week, that was only 50 pages a week. And so it took me, and 25 pages was hard. Like some days reading 25 pages was just like god awful. But you know, I got through it. So 300 pages. So to try to read an entire PhD student's work and do that for multiple students, ugh. So 300 pages, that's I guess I can kind of see it. 300 pages is a lot. But it's also impressive too that you got 300 pages and then to condense it. To condense it is the more impressive thing. So that's interesting. My current chapter is about death, which is a very hard subject. Yes. Funny you should talk about death while I'm on religion day, right? Is death real, or well, is the afterlife real or not? That'll be a very interesting topic to read in your yeah, it is too long. People like concise research. Concise research is the best research for sure. You know, not all that fluff. Come on, mouse. Oh, my mouse is just tripping on me. Not that much fluff and stuff, but then again, you know, like certain research, most people won't even just bother to read. They'll just read the abstract or whatever it's called. Oh yeah, actually, I think this is good. Yeah, you're tired.
May they be called by my name, and the name of my fathers Abraham and Isaac, and may they grow into a multitude in the midst of the earth. Chapter 48. 4q Genf, 48:1-11, 4q Gen Exoda, 48:2-4, 15-17, 18-22. 32 4q Genf. After them MTSP 33. 4q Genf. This unique and uncertain expression shows a slight variance as compared to MT and SP. 34 4q Genf. Ephrath. And I buried her there on the way to Ephrath MTSPLXX. 35 feminine 4q Genf MT Gear SP. Masculine MT Ketib. 36 4q Genf. Said to his father MTSPLXX. 37 4q Genf SP. Age MT 38. 4q Genf. He kissed them, and embraced them MTSPLXX. 17 And when Joseph saw that his father laid his right hand upon the head of Ephraim, it displeased him, and he took hold of his father's hand so as to remove it from Ephraim's head to Manasseh's head. 18 And Joseph said to his father, Not so, my father, for this is the firstborn. Put your right hand upon his head. 19 And his father refused and said, I know, my son, one no. He shall also become me a people, and he also shall be great, but his younger brother shall be greater than he, and his offspring shall become a multitude of nations. 20 And he blessed them that day, saying, By you Israel will bless, saying, May God make you like Ephraim and Manasseh. And he set Ephraim before Manasseh. 21 And Israel said to Joseph, Behold, I am about to die, but God will be with you, and bring you again to the land of your fathers. 22 And I have given you one portion more than your brothers, which I took from the hand of the Amorphite with my sword and with my bow. 0 And Jacob called to his sons, and said, Gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which will happen to you in the latter days. 2 Assemble yourselves and listen, you sons of Jacob, and listen to Israel your father. 3 Reuben, you are my firstborn, my might, and the beginning of my strength, the preeminence of dignity, and the preeminence of power. 4 Turbulent as water, you shall not have the preeminence, because you went up to your father's bed, then you defiled it, he went up to my couch. 5 Simeon and Levi are brothers, their swords are weapons of violence. 6 Let my soul not come into their counsel, let my glory not be united with their assembly, for in their anger they killed men, and with pleasure they hamstrung oxen. 7 Let their anger be cursed, for it was fierce, and their wrath, for it was cruel. I will scatter them in Jacob, and disperse them in Israel. 8 Judah, your brothers shall praise you, your hand shall be on the neck of your enemies, your father's sons shall bow down before you. 26 So Joseph died, being 110 years old, and they embalmed him, and he was put in a coffin in Egypt. Chapter 49. 4q Gen Exodus, Gen 49:1-5, 4q Gen, 49:6-8. The second book OT the Bible, Exodus, tells of the God who rescued Israel from Egypt, the giving of the law, and the building of the tabernacle. This history of Israel, with its main character Moses the lawgiver, is no less compelling today than it was over 2,000 years ago. What do the Dead Sea Scrolls have to say concerning this critical ancient document? Outnumbered among the biblical manuscripts only by Genesis, Deuteronomy, Isaiah, Psalms, and 1 Enoch, the 18 manuscripts of Exodus attest to the popularity of this book in the Qumran community. 17 of the manuscripts were discovered in 4 of the 11 caves in the vicinity of Wadi Qumran 1. In Cave 1, 3 in Cave 2, 12 in Cave 4, and 1 in Cave 7, while 1 was found in a cave in the cliffs of Wadi Murabayat that had been used as a hideout by rebels OT the Bar Kokhba revolt, 132-35 CE. I taken together, these 18 manuscripts attest to parts of each of the 40 chapters in the book of Exodus. Like the manuscripts OT the book of Genesis, Exodus gives additional evidence that the 5 books known as the Torah were often copied together in the same scroll. 2 scrolls preserve portions of Genesis, B1 shows Exodus to have been followed by Leviticus 0, while the remains of the scroll from Wadi Murabayat include fragments of Genesis and Numbers in addition to Exodus. Thus the Torah appears to have been well established as a collection at least 2 centuries before the coming of Jesus. In the main, the text of Exodus recorded in the Dead Sea Scrolls is that of the Masoretic text. Indeed, even the scroll known as Pap 7QLXX Exodus, a Greek text from Cave 7, is more closely aligned to the Masoretic text than it is to the A.
And it's interesting. My only understanding of these scrolls are just that, so there's a bunch of scrolls that were found in a cave, but they were found much later in a cave versus when the Bible was created. So they contain a lot of stuff that's in the Bible, but they obviously contain a lot of stuff that's not in the Bible. And so they potentially have like a lot more additional. Wait, why is there one more
LQ
enemy?
Exodus, 2Q Exoda,
Hold on.
2.
I'm about to get murdered. Why is there one more enemy somewhere? Oh, we have flying enemies around here somewhere? Isn't that's unfortunate. Great. Now I gotta figure out how I'm gonna fix this. But anyway, they're gonna have potentially like a lot of information and stuff that would be good to know, would have been nice to be made aware of, but it's not in the Bible, or not at least like added on, which is just odd to me, because like you have the Old Testament and then you have the New Testament, which they're like 2 significantly like different, I don't even know what to call it, like errors in history that they just like kind of combined together, right? Because don't the Jews only read the Old Testament and then the Christians read the New Testament? So I don't understand that once they discovered the scrolls, why didn't they just make a third a third testament? Yeah, but I guess the only way we're going to actually read this stuff, or that's the only way you're going to find out about like what was what else was going on back then. You're just going to have to, I guess, pull it up yourself. Can't expect the rest of society to put together something. So that's what I'm interested in, because and I came across the Dead Sea Scrolls when I was reading about the Book of Giants. They actually talked about like the when giants roamed the earth, which I thought was like a pretty fascinating story, and how like the giants came about because like some of God's angels like had children with humans, and so those children ended up being giants, and it was like, you know, all kinds of like really crazy stuff. So I think if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that's probably because the land, a lot of the land that Israel took, from my understanding, wasn't inhabited. Like they didn't have no of course I don't know like by what percentage, but I do believe like a good chunk of Israeli land was like unused, in that like you couldn't use it, like there's no vegetation or nothing like that. So I guess it would kind of make sense, like if you're in a barren, like I don't want to say a barren wasteland, but land that you can't really get much crops in and out of, you just didn't really deal with it. Because if I'm not mistaken, a lot of Israel's GDP comes from technology trades, because they don't actually have, I don't think they have agriculture or anything like that they can really export for money. So I guess I guess it would kind of make sense. You know, it's almost like I don't know, like how ginormous the desert is. You know what? A good place. Iran. There's, you know, Iran, if I'm not mistaken, is the hottest recorded place on the earth. There is a place in Iran that reaches up to like around 150 degrees Fahrenheit or Celsius. Is it Celsius? I think it's Fahrenheit. Might be Fahrenheit, right? 150 degrees Fahrenheit. So obviously, nobody's living there. Nobody's traveling over there. And so it would make sense to me that if in some point in the future, if there was like a lot of like really deep excavations or whatever that we don't discover, like something like more crazy stuff, more historically crazy stuff, like maybe some more new dinosaur species, or maybe even a cave with like some scrolls. a lot of Israel's GDP probably comes from taxing Americans. Funny. All right, let's finish up this.
Q exod. 2Q exod.
Actually, see, I wasn't even paying attention, and there we go. Wait, where is it at? Yeah, okay, so we're at Exodus now. The second book of the Bible, Exodus. All right. So this was like this is when we get to the Egyptian thing here. So this is what, page 22? Okay, so we're now on page 22. I have notes. I know I have notes. I should probably write it down and set notes. Hold on. Oof. Do I even remember what the... Hold on. I gotta look and see. I'm gonna write down like where I stopped at real quick on this book. Hold on. Let me see here. It's called the Zoho notebook. That's what this application is called. Zoho notebook. Let's see what we got. Okay. Yep, that is definitely it. Okay. I'm just gonna write down where I was at. Let me move you over here. Of course. They sat there and gave me an email. Hold on. I am just Trying to get this here. Okay, almost. There we go. Grab you. Mr. Code. Paste it. And yeah, that's fine. Okay, now let's come back here. Bam. Okay. Ideas book. Bible. Probably actually should just write a new one. And this one's now Dead Sea Scrolls. And so we're on page 22. I'll just leave that like that for right now. Add to it is based on where you took them. Interesting. Okay. But, all right, cool. So we got that. So page 22. Oh, technically it's 23. Fine. This is actually going to be a little bit harder to keep track of versus the Bible. At least the Bible, you had like the actual citations. So this is what, 1, 2, 3. I guess this is the 4th paragraph. Yep, 4th paragraph. Okay. All right. That there works. All right, so close that now. And let me just repair this here. And we should be good. I'll repair this and then we're like essentially done. God. That's what I get for not paying attention. It's like, why? Bro, it literally, it was strategically attacking everything too. It took out my power supply. That's crazy. The thing that was giving me titanium was this combustion, right? Yeah, there we go. Go here, here, and here. Oh, it took out the batteries. Bro, that's just, oh my God, that's crazy. All right, whatever. Don't worry. Next time, we're gonna get some air. We're gonna get some air defenses around here for sure. Ain't gonna have that happen again. And then let's guess the big node. All right, yeah. It looks like that should work there. Israel basically depends on us as a nanny state, even though the UK had established it. They are invaders, but don't say anything about it or else you get canceled. I'm trying to think, how do I go about this? Hold on. Is everything fixed now? Okay. Everything is fixed, and then all I want to do is just make some simple air defense, and then I should be good. Oh, wait. I could just do the pyrites. True. I could just use pyrites. Israel, I think Israel definitely depended on a lot of like Western support at first, right? Because when were they established? Weren't like all of the Muslim countries around them wanted to like just basically destroy them, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, they definitely need a lot of support. But now they're pretty decently sufficient on their own now. So I don't know. I think even with like all of the money that we give them, which is a lot, is only at best, I think like what, 12% of their overall budget of the natural money they're making. But then I guess you could probably just argue like the extra money that they're making is just from like the extra services that they provide or export to us, maybe. I don't know. Let me get my air defense here and be happy because I'm ready to. It's almost time to go. I guess I would put you right here, right? Hold on. Let me see. You target air enemies, don't you? Yes, you do target air enemies. I was gonna say, I was like, hold on. Yeah, and you got like such a nice range. This should work. Okay, hold on. Oh, that's it. They don't. So there's just no flying enemies every round. I thought it was gonna be a flying enemy every round. Cause I feel like that mofo like snuck up from somewhere. It's crazy. But I mean, not that it matters. I got that. Okay, everything looks good. Everything looks like it is doing well. I got my, yeah, we got some silicon, titanium, albeit very slowly because there's no natural titanium here. Everything looks good. Air is sufficient, but we moved a lot of Muslims out of their native countries to establish it. You know, those partition plans, and I don't know if I want to ever spend time like actually just reading that stuff. It gets so messy. It do get so messy after a while because like you have what, right? You have the Palestinians that were there that were living there, but they were living sparsely. And then like before World War II, the Jews were buying up pieces of the land, but then there was restrictions because the Ottoman Empire didn't want to buy too much of it. But they were slowly buying land, and it wasn't that much at first. Then, World War II happened, and Jews were getting prosecuted all around the face of the earth, or everybody just hated the Jews. And then World War II ended, and then the Ottoman Empire collapsed. And so then it was like, okay, well, we still need these Jews to go somewhere else. So then they created the whole partition thing over there in Palestine, where like some of this land they already bought, which was only a small portion of it. Another decent chunk of it was completely uninhabited. And then you had obviously the land that the Palestinians were on. And it's just that whole thing, that whole situation is just honestly just kind of like fucked. But my only issue with it is just that like after war, like the victor is the one that gets to like set the terms. So I mean it is what it is. Like I'm sorry, like all the other Muslim countries went to war and lost. So like it's just it kind of is what it is at this point. And like until they accept the deal, actually accept the deal, they're just going to continue to just lose that land to Israel, because Israel honestly probably would like nothing more than to just like keep that fighting and stuff going every time, so they could just chip away at more and more land. Didn't they just like a month or so ago just annex like another significant portion of like the northern part of Israel or something like that, or like the West Bank? Was it the West Bank? I don't even remember like the geography, but it's crazy to me that from the little bit that I've been like catching and reading, that like if the Palestinians had accepted a deal outright, that would have put Israel in such a bad spot. I see they were banned from every country in Europe, and now they are causing more problems, specifically as Ashkenazis. I have not heard of this term before. I'll give it a quick Google. But like if the Palestinians, my understanding when I look at it is like if the Palestinians had actually accepted the deal like from the get-go, not only would they be in a much better position, but that effectively like would have put that would have put what is it? That would have put Israel in like such a tough spot to be able to like do any form of expansion or anything like that, right? Because like it's easy to take land from aggressors, right? You they attack you, you go to war, you beat them. Now you essentially just get to take whatever you want, right? Now imagine if like there was just never a war from the get go, right? The territory, the map would have been looking completely different, not in Israel's favor. But Ashkenazi Jews. Oh yeah, these guys in the Holy Roman Empire. And then I gotta actually go. I gotta like try to set some time to like understand like the different like subgroups here, because I just thought, you know, it's almost like Muslims, right? Because like you got Muslims, but you have like it's like I think like two prominent different types of Muslims that exists. I can't remember the name right now at the top of my head because it's just so late. But I believe it's the same thing with the Jews, because you have ultra Orthodox Jews and like some other stuff. I have no idea. But yeah, no, this is all stuff we gotta put some time to like research soon, relatively soon. I am so tired. But let me have that saved. So this is good. But at least everything looks like it's finally stable. Everything's streaming. Everything's good. So starting tomorrow, we'll be back into like our regular scheduled programming on the politics side. So I can't wait. Can't wait to get back to seeing like how all of this how much of the world has been changing while I've been dealing with my technical woes. Because man, there's a lot of stuff. If I'm not mistaken, JFK, Jesus Christ, RFK is going to drop out of the race tomorrow. I believe he's going to announce he's dropping out of the race tomorrow, and then join Trump, which would be very interesting. Because I'd be really interested in how much of his voters actually go for Trump, because I feel like if it was 100%, then it could be a problem for the Democrats. But it's never 100%. I mean, after all, most people, while Biden was running, most people were going for RFK because they hated both candidates. Then when Harris came about, right, a bulk of the Democrats that were voting for RFK went to her, and then some of the Republicans that were going for RFK went to her as well. So if he drops out, I think even a significant less amount will go to Trump. And then everybody else is either going to not vote or go for Harris. So we'll see. Yeah, I personally, I doubt it. I you know, while Biden was there, I was like, it's going to be really close, and I don't know. But after RFK drops out, there's not I can't foresee anything significant happening to where like is this going to be a much of a change. I really do think Harris is going to win. The only question is just going to be by how much. If she blows him out of the water on election day, so even before the all of the votes are fully tallied, I think it'll be like an open and closed case with this election once and for all. Like when it comes to Trump and all of the fake elector scheme stuff that he keeps on trying to push, or fake vote stuff that he's trying to push. So we won't even have that issue no more. So I don't know. We'll see. I think right now polls are looking really good. Enthusiasm is looking really good. Can I bring you? Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot I don't use this computer no more. I have to actually come over here now to the laptop. Right? I'll just take a quick look at the polls before we leave. Harris Trump polls. Jesus Christ. Look, even in Texas, there's no way. Even in Texas? There's no way that's a C. Latest survey also recorded a 2-point lead for Ted Cruz, blah, blah, blah. Over Senator, blah, blah, blah. Let me get, okay. Trump's 4-point lead in the hobby school's latest poll, slimmed to the 5.6-point margin by which he carried the state over Biden 2020. Harris's campaign, blah, 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 suggested earlier this week that the campaign does not intend to make much of a play for Texas. She noted the high cost of advertising in the state and suggested it would divert resources. This is true. I mean, Texas is still pretty solid red, so you shouldn't probably waste your money there. But what's the percentage points that she dropped Trump at here? Okay, let's see. Trump now leads among the voting bloc by just 2 percentage points, down from a 24-point edge in June. What? This can't be in Texas. There's no way this is in Texas. Is this really in Texas? Or are they just blending it with somebody else, with some other state? I'm trying to skim through it because I don't feel like reading the whole thing. No, they're really talking about Texas. Yeah, because Cruz and O'Rourke, those are like, that's Texas stuff. Wow, that's crazy. Trump went from 2%, from 24% with independents down to 2%. That's wild. Good gracious. And this is what I'm saying. Like, I'm sorry, but like, I probably not vote because I'm in New York and we're not allowed to vote Republican or express conservative values. You know, this is the part where I did want to make a joke, but you know, you should definitely vote. I don't know what place, what part of New York that you're particularly at, but you should definitely vote. I think like what? I'm trying to think. What was like the most oppressive state? Is it Texas? I think it is. No, I don't think it's Texas. I'm trying to think. What was like the most oppressive states where? No, I think it actually was kind of Texas, if I'm not mistaken. I think there was a woman that was like told that she could vote after she got out of prison, and then like she was told by like state officials that she could vote, and then she did so, and then they found out that they were wrong. They were wrong, but they still put her in jail. So I don't know. I think maybe Texas might be up there, like probably most oppressive. But you should definitely vote. Even though I don't personally agree with it, voting for Trump, but you know, should always exercise your right. Because at the end you can say you participated in this little thing we call democracy. But then again, I do want Trump to lose and Harris to win. So you know, I won't push you necessarily too hard on that. Because I said after Trump loses, and hopefully if he loses by a significant amount, the Republican Party will blow up, and then we could pick up all of the pieces and actually rebuild the Republican Party to something new. This is what I'm doing. Greenwich Village, that kind of doxes. Oh, interesting. Yeah. Most people won't care. Like I said, this is a religion day, so the categories are like no traffic at all. So yeah, you ain't gotta worry about it. I'm gonna forget this place in like 5 minutes. So you're all right. Oh, you know something? Never mind. YouTube, because I was thinking like Twitch the VOD deletes after X amount of time, but YouTube. But then again, nobody's gonna probably want to unearth this unless you do something crazy and then they somehow link you to like he streams and then they try to find you. But I seriously doubt that. When neither one of us are important. You're more important than me. You got the PhD. You're about to get the PhD. You're about to, you know, start blessing the world with fabulous types of work. Me, I am just a simple nobody. So, yeah, I doubt anybody earthed this video. But with that being said, it is now time for me to roll on out of here because it's already super late or early, depending on how you want to look at it, and I still got to go to work. It's Friday. I am streaming today because today's technically Friday, so I will be streaming tonight if nothing happens at work to keep me at work too late, because I'm gonna just cancel, or maybe we'll see. But I'm definitely stream tonight. But the first part of the stream is going to be gaming because some of my boys are going to be online. We're going to be playing Chain together, maybe for like an hour, maybe two. But then after that, then like they drop off, and then I'll just get like straight into my politics. So no, you're good. Everyone knows where I am. Everybody knows where you are. I don't know if that's a good thing though. Everybody should not know where you are. That is just that's a bit much. But especially if you're just, if you believe every conspiracy under the sun too, But yeah, no, it was definitely good. It was definitely good catching up with you. We got a lot of stuff planned as long as nothing else breaks. I'm trying to think. Like I plan on changing only one more thing, probably after Sunday. After Sunday, I probably try and like get something to get fixed. Like I said, it's still like slightly unstable. So unless that goes horribly wrong, we're officially back in business, streaming, because I really miss doing this. So you take care. Robin, and I will catch you. Hopefully later today or maybe tomorrow, whenever you happen to be back online. But I'll talk to you guys later. With that being said, you guys go ahead and take care. Can I get my mouse back here? Cool. There we go. All right. You guys take it easy.
Will Almighty ever stop being trash? Can he ever not be sorry? Find out next time on Almighty's stream.